We love LITCG show. We've been coming to the Long Island TCG show for like the last 6-7 months, and every single month is just a banger.
We love the LI TCG show!
Woo! Good afternoon, Internet. Welcome to the Long Island TCG show in Melville, Long Island. We are hanging out here for the second in our TCG show tournament series. I am Nick Uterano, BattleBoxes TV, joined here by my first-time co-host, Andrew Uterano,
Yeah.
Battle Crates TV.
Woo!
We are the Battle Bros, and
Happy
we
to
are
be
going to
here.
be bringing you some action today from our local scene here on in Long Island, New York. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. We are at the Long Island TCG show. Great place to be on this Sunday in April. Sun's coming out, about to get
Yeah.
some competition heat up. Just want to let you
Yeah.
guys know, on top of that, thank you. So, talking about TCG for Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a
This
big
weekend,
weekend. Yeah,
new,
yeah.
New format, new everything. We've got a rotation coming through. If you're not familiar with what a rotation is that in order to keep the format fresh and not stale, we get rid of some, we say goodbye-bye to some old cards, a lot of them, which is all of the F-block cards. So now this new format is Scarlet Violet base onwards. This weekend being the first regional tournament of the year in Atlanta. Couple of front-runner decks from online tournaments. Want to run through it a little bit, my friend?
Yeah, so at least for right now, obviously the big deck in the room to talk about is Dragapult. Very efficient, very, very strong. It has its own deck engine built in with those Dracloaks, being able to spread a bunch of damage counters around, and really just all in all, one of the all-time strongest decks that we've seen, at least coming out as a front runner. Obviously, we have Raging Bolt. It's kind of been a meta mainstay for a little while here, using those, Teal Mask Orgapons to charge energy and hit for really, really big numbers. A deck that I'm really familiar with, it's actually what I've been playing the most of, is Archaladon, a new front runner on the block. Back in pre-rotation, rather, we were playing it pure. There weren't really that many. The deck ran itself, very consistent, very to the point. But we've actually been seeing some really interesting cards in Archaladon, haven't we? A little bit of Caesar, a little bit of Poison
Box.
Package.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about Orgapon and Gardevoir?
Yeah, played a little bit. Namely, one of the big winners that have come out of this set, the hype was definitely around Terrabox, Ogrepon box, which is Wellspring Mask Ogrepon, Teal Mask Ogrepon, Cornerstone Mask Ogrepon, and the Noctowl engine. You have a lot of cards that let you search cards from your deck very quickly. You get out the gate really fast. You are moving through resources in your deck, and you're able to just run over your opponents in a lot of game plans. Very popular deck. Has not kind of the hype for it has kind of simmered a little bit, especially going into Atlanta weekend.
Yeah, how's it doing in Atlanta, by the way? I know you've been keeping up with them.
Been okay.
Okay.
It has kind of simmered down. The hype for it has definitely simmered down a little bit,
Oh.
unfortunately. So, but the big deck that has been heating up, aside from Dragapult, which has namely been a mainstay across the meta, Gardevoir EX. Nobody really knew how this deck was going to be played, but it is it is heating up at some very high level tables at Atlanta, namely with the Secret Box Pure package, and namely more than that, the Ends Zoroark package, where
Yes.
you have both Gardevoir EX plus losing Refinement Curlia was not good, so we're going to say, I want Refinement Curlia again. Ends Zoroark EX is now just a draw engine in Gardevoir EX so that you can get your Psychic Energies into the discard pile and use Psychic Embrace. Only deck that I would see, two decks that I did not see on here that have now come through the woodwork. Goldango, very popular amongst the people. Everyone loves drawing cards from our friendly Macaroni Man. And the rogue deck to watch in Day 2 of Atlanta has certainly been Eevee Box. With the Terra Evolutions, you're Angeliting, removing your opponent's threats from the board and shuffling them back into your opponent's deck time after time after time after time after time. And you just make it so that they don't have a board anymore.
And honestly, it's a fan favorite deck too. You know, obviously everybody loves their evolutions. So when you get to see multiple evolutions put together in a deck like that, and it actually see it be strong and relatively the best rogue deck in the format right now, it is very interesting to see.
Maybe even good enough to not be a rogue deck. We'll have to see, because not a lot of the lists have been revealed yet. A lot, you can catch a bunch of lists from the stream games, try to scrape it manually from there, as some people in my own testing groups have done. But we'll have to see what these lists will go, because we got a couple more regionals coming up soon. So
yes, absolutely.
I namely will be competing in Portland, and then you have NAIC after that for the newer format. But definitely a good competition room. This meta, I will stress this, is wide open.
Yes.
Play a deck that you feel comfortable with, a deck that you like, and I promise you, you will go far with whatever you have, as long as you are playing a deck that has player agency.
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
feels
we spoke about 7 decks here, and there's still another 2 sitting and waiting. We've got Zoroark as a deck in itself, Zoroark box, and even Miraidon is showing its head a little bit in bits and pieces here. There's a new Miraidon Joltik list that we're kind of seeing show up, little bits and pieces here and there. So listen, if there's a deck that you like, a card that you like, and you see it played, try the list out. Have a little fun with it. You never know, because if there's one thing that we can tell you as players, commentators for the game, it's practice. Practice is the most important thing that you can do, and the more reps you get in, the better you get. So
and go to your locals. Practice at your
very
locals.
True. Yeah.
We're
here.
We're here. This is a local. We're here at a local tournament.
Yeah, this is
This is where you kind of cut your teeth and get used to what you want to do. So
yeah.
But namely, we've got our tournament series number 2 here. I'm gonna call it that. I like that name.
Yeah.
Sounds very nice.
Very
and
nice.
Very nice and
I
professional.
like it.
But nice little prizes going on here. You grace us with your presence at the Long Island TCG show.
Come say hi.
Nice little tournament going on here. We got a couple prizes, first, second, third place. Namely, we got our little
he's
guy.
so cute.
We got our little guy here, our Bulbasaur plushie. Got some packs of Stellar Crown. This is our little display pack section, as well as a Shrouded Fable ETB. Get yourself some more Pheasantipides and Night Stretchers and a couple SIRs from this set that are very good. So
unfortunately,
nice
Spiel is
prizes.
not included in
No,
that?
this is my son. This is
we
my
don't.
son, whom will be named later, but I have claimed him as my own.
Yep.
He is my stowaway
Oh.
in most
Oh,
TCG
okay.
endeavors. I bring him in my little bag here. That
Are you
going to
be bringing him to Portland?
Oh, absolutely. He's going
Okay.
to be my wonderful little stowaway.
Would we
for
be
good
able
luck.
to see your Twitter and see some very interesting Spiel pictures? Or is there going to be some?
I could start a series. I could
Yeah?
put him in precarious places and give him a little.
Yeah,
pet.
I mean, listen, just in random places all across on the shoulder. We got here.
Oh no. I say on me, sure. This is my son. He will be with me. But I could put him in my bag. I could put him at the restaurants we go to. I could put him on the tournament floor. It doesn't matter to me. But
Spiel from the tournament floor.
But that's enough out of us. Have to see how long it takes. We're getting set up right now for our first round of the tournament. How this tournament structure is going to go. It is a best of 3 tournament as far as I'm aware. Double checking with our production staff. I do not know if it is best of 1 or best of 3 today. If it is best of 3, it's going to be best of 3 in 50 minutes. Your round will complete in 50 minutes. You need to complete a series of 3 games in that time frame. We will have a couple rounds of Swiss, and then either a top 4 or a top 2, depending on how many people are in the tournament. So the only other change to that being is that if it's a best of 1, you have 1 game to complete in 30 minutes. That will be your setup there. So got a couple competitors. Nice little local tournament we got going on for you. Production value
Yeah, absolutely.
very high. Definitely one more time, thank you to the Long Island TCG show for having
Yeah.
us. Big thank you to our production staff in the back. Nicole over there, she's the GOAT. She got keeping everything rolling nice and smooth for the rest of us.
She's great.
We are got the little thank you in our ears from Nicole, but we're gonna be starting round 1 pretty soon.
Yes.
So
What do you want to see, Nick? What are we thinking?
I am a Dragapult enjoyer. But
I like
I
it.
will. It's not Duskpult that I have been liking as much, even though the deck definitely has a lot higher of a skill ceiling than most other decks, aside from Gardevoir. I've been liking pure Dragapult, where you remove the Dusk line entirely in favor of a heavier count of tech cards and consistency cards. Your goal is to just charge up a bunch of Dragapults and then swing with your additional
Right,
attacks
and there
at the
aren't
end of
that
the game.
many
Hawlucha and Bear.
There aren't really that many answers to those 6 damage counters right now either. I mean, really the biggest one being Rabska, and there isn't really a deck or archetype or anything that can really get Rabska out. And even then,
not effectively,
you know,
really.
Right, exactly.
And even then, the problem with it is that Dusknoir takes care of that.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
The Dusknoir version of Dragapult will just say, Dusknoir, I'm knocking out my own Dusknoir in order to knock out your Rabska, and now I get to
swing
Phantom Dive
for 200.
again.
Yes,
And now
exactly.
I get to Phantom Dive again, so that doesn't even matter.
I mean, with Dragapult being so prevalent, what are your thoughts on that Lily's Clefairy? Because that is a very, very not prevalent card yet, but definitely a powerful card when a Dragon-type Pokemon like Dragapult is really at the forefront of the meta right now.
Lily's Clefairy, definitely an interesting card. For those of you who don't know, Lily's Clefairy is a card that says, its ability says, your opponent's Dragon-type Pokemon have a weakness now as Psychic type instead of no weakness, which Dragon-type cards typically have. So now, this big 300 HP monster of a Ghost Lizard can now just get smacked around by the smallest dude you know. So there are there are definitely lines that certain decks can take, namely Terrabox and Crispin decks, which is your Terrabox, your Eevee box, and also Gardevoir now gets an answer to trade 2 for 2 or even sometimes 3 for 2 into Dragapult. So, but the attack itself is still extremely strong. It still has the ability to have lines into a lot of these decks. May not take a great matchup in a Gardevoir and those other decks that have those types of matchups, but you know, most deck builders, savvy deck builders, will find a way to get around that. But I'd like to see a pure Dragapult. I know 1 or 2 players that might be playing it right now. I won't drop their names just yet, so as to not pressure them. But I'm definitely looking to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Duskpult as well. Oh, okay. So we've actually got an interesting first matchup. Another deck that we didn't mention as well is Terapagos, Tank Terapagos.
Yes.
It's a Terrabox style deck. You're still running your Hoothoots and your Noctowls, and it's going to be Raging Bolt versus Terapagos in our round 1. They are setting up right now, getting our names on the board. I believe that is Ben Nace on the left. Please ignore the names on the top. We're going to be, yep, there you go. Nice little quick type out there. Okay, so it's going to be Ben Nace on, I believe, Tank Terapagos versus David Headland on Raging Bolt.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
So we're going to see what is going on here. Now, we've actually seen both of these guys a little bit. David and Ben, both really, really upstanding guys. We've seen them around the Long Island TCG scene for a little bit. You know, honestly, both pretty good players, and honestly, like, hopefully we're going to see a pretty good match here. More than anything, that
Ben kind of deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are still setting up right now.
Yep.
I mean, I guess, what are you thinking about the key cards in that matchup? What do you think kind of really gets the job done?
So obviously, you know, we're going to be moving really, really quick when it comes to this Tropicos deck. Really, the goal is to get as many Pokemon onto that bench as humanly possible. Key card, obviously, Area 0. I'm not sure if David is running any Stadium Bumps in their list, but in this case, definitely keeping that that bench size as small as possible is a big benefit for David.
Yep.
Obviously, because of that unified beatdown attack. So basically 30 times. this turn. So, Latias obviously with that Streamliner ability for a free retreat cost, Area 0 under depths. We talked about that before, that being one of the most important cards.
We are looking to load the bench. So ideally, to make it very difficult for David to get the response KO, you definitely want to be putting Bouffalints down so that it takes up the 2 bench slots. Ben wants to get his bench space to 8. If he can get to 8, then David's going to have a really hard time trading back and forth. So what Ben needs is a backup Terra Pokemon so that when we get the knockout, it doesn't matter really that it doesn't reduce the bench size. Because if you knock out the only Terra Pokemon and then your Area 0 Under Depths is still in play, your bench goes back down to 5. You have to discard cards. So
there's our Terapagos.
All right, so we've got our second Terapagos now. So the idea here probably is we want to get our benches at 2, 4,
So something
5,
I'm noticing.
6. So probably ideally is
the Bouffalints, right? I think
Yes.
those are the last 2 that
we want to get
Ben
Bouffalints into
needs
play,
here.
but Ben, it might be difficult for Ben to do that. So there's also a world, because David did not attack on his first turn going second, the initiative is not on him to take prize cards. So what we can do now is that if Ben does just swing with the Fan Rotom, he can follow up with the Terapagos if he doesn't get enough Pokemon to actually do anything. He did attach to the
There's our Bravery Charm. So now with those 2 Bouffalints, if they do end up coming down this turn, Terapagos has an effective 340 health.
Okay.
He did decide to pass here.
Didn't get anything else to actually get an attack off. And that's actually better because it puts it on David to get a Gust in order to get another attack.
Yes, absolutely. And there's our Teal Mask.
Teal Dance ability from David. That's the Koraidon.
Oh,
but
okay.
An ancient Pokemon did not attack the previous turn, so we cannot utilize that.
Not yet, at least.
Okay.
So what would need to happen here is that David would need to go for a Raging Bolt attack and then directly go into potentially either a straight attack with the Koraidon or a boss attack.
Okay.
But it is one of the more important cards, going with that
So
Noctowl.
here's David's Noctowl.
Yep.
That is the only one on the board. Notice that Ben does have 2 more Hoot Hoots on the board, which gives him access to that play later on. We'll have to see what David actually gets in terms of his cards, but we do have access to probably Sada plus an additional card that gets some energy into play. David will be able to take 1, but, we'll have to see how exactly he's able to get it. Probably, he is a 210 if he is able to get the 3rd energy or just a raw attach. So if he has a Gust, he could punch the Latias this turn and take 2. That sets up his 2/2/2 prize map.
Yep.
If he has a boss or...
Did notice that was an Ultra Ball and an Earthen Vessel trying to go through more of that energy acceleration, so Professor Sada's Vitality is going to be a little bit more efficient. So it does look like... Let's see what David's searching for here.
Got a little judge check going on there, but we'll see what he can do from that position.
What do you think about the game so far? I mean, honestly, both players have been trying to get to where they need to go pretty quickly here. It's likely we're going to see an Ancient Pokemon attack this turn, so Koraidon could potentially be set up the next turn, but Ben is looking really, really nice with that already with that first Terapagos in play.
The problem is that this can flip. It depends on David getting because since he does have the 1 energy on the Ogerpon, he can technically get the boss KO this turn. So it depends on whether David sees that line and he's able to access that line with the boss's orders. If he does that, gets the attach, and KOs the Latias, he does take the first 2 in this matchup, which can be pretty tough for Ben to respond with because he does have to have a bench of 8 the entire game.
Yeah, which obviously, otherwise he would have to go through and boss an Orgapon every single turn in order to secure those 2 prize cards, because obviously with an 8 bench, it's
even then,
240.
it's a bench of like 210 versus 240 in Terapagos is a bench of 7 versus a bench of 8. 7 is not exactly the easiest thing to get either.
Yeah,
he's at 6 now, which is great, but we'll have to see what exactly David's able to access on this turn. Ideally, we want to see 2 prize cards taken no matter what. It's probably going to be tough.
There's our manual
So
attach.
there's the attach. So he's using Sada. Okay. So right now he is committing to just KO.
Those are some good cards that he just picked up. That was Crispin, Latias, and Grass Energy, which means we can now get to that second Teal Dance.
Well, it's good. The problem is that we will have to see now, since the bench is 8, we will have to see now what David chooses to do. Because at the most now, David can only take 1 prize card, which means that if Ben takes 2 in response, he can now go 2/2/2 and win, which means that Ben now has initiative to win the game.
Now, if David activates Burst Roar here, does that count as an attack for the Ancient Koraidon?
I don't know, actually. I'll have to figure that out.
Because
But I don't
if
think that
David doesn't want to take a prize card here and does not like his hand, he could potentially opt to Burst Roar, and then potentially go into the Quaridon next turn.
I'm not sure.
But we'll see what
let
he
me
decides
let me
to
get
do.
the old encyclopedia out here. I will
Yeah.
double check the text.
Okay, so he did end
for
up
that
deciding
for you.
while you're doing that. He did decide to go for the attack there, so he did get to take his first prize card on that Fan Rotom. Okay, so now Ben Nace obviously down to 6 bench here. Or no, I'm sorry, 5 bench. So we're going to have to see. There's the Pheasantipity, obviously, with that flip the script ability. Going to grab those 3 cards.
You update. You are correct.
Okay, so...
If one of your ancient Pokemon used an attack last turn, this attack does 150 plus 30, which is
so-
180, which can be 360, which is enough to get a KO.
Okay.
That is
So I
probably going to be,
believe-
if that's possible, that is going to be a very big attacker in this
Was
matchup.
that an Iono?
Does seem like it was.
Believe
Ben
so. Yes, so
Ben
that was
does
an
need to see
Iono.
cards.
Yes, okay, okay, here's our Bouffalints.
The bull.
So we're getting that Curly Wall ability, obviously. We got our...
Activated Pheasantipity.
Yep,
there's
there's
the
our 2
second
boofs.
Bouffalant.
Okay,
And now our
so
bench
now-
is 8.
yes.
So now this means that Ben now takes the first 2. That is very important in this matchup because now when you're trading back and forth, as long as Ben can repeatedly provide 2 prize attackers or 1 prize attackers that can take 2 prize cards every turn, Ben will have initiative to win. Initiative in a matchup that's like a turbo matchup like this is very important because now Ben takes 2. Or David took 1, Ben takes 2. David takes 2 in response. He's only able to go down to 3.
Yeah.
Ben takes
So
2, he
let's
goes down to
see-
2.
let's see
David takes 2, he goes down to 1. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
And then Ben is able to take his last 2 to win before David can take his last prize card. So,
Yeah.
you know, you definitely want to be taking 2 prize. Like that is the main strategy of both of these decks in this matchup is that you want to go 2-2-2, and if Ben is not able to go 2-2-2, Ben has the option of supplementing 1 prizers to offset the prize trade. David does too, but it's a little bit harder. Given
so there's
specific.
that Fez, right? So we got another Fez down there.
Sure.
So again, let's see if David decides to use that
The
ancient
Koraidon.
Koraidon because
Yeah.
with Asadas, it is definitely possible to just flat out knock out that Terapagos this turn.
Yeah, because what is Terapagos' effective health total right now?
So right
it
now-
is 230 plus 50 for the Bravery Charm, which is 280, and then it takes 60 less, which is 340. So the Koraidon, if I did look at this
180.
text right, it is 180 if an ancient Pokemon attack last turn. So what now can happen is that David can now provide a 1 prizer to trade into the 2
Yes,
prizer.
so
that
we'll
is
have to
likely
see-
his best situation.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how David decides to tackle this. I don't know if he's going to just swing with a Raging Bolt here. We do know that the Koraidon was in hand.
He does have access to it. He needs at least 340.
Okay, so there's our Teal Dance.
So it'd be set. We'd need 5 energy for the 350 to swing. So
That's a lot of energy to give up here.
yeah, and Ben, if he has a benched Pokemon to place down and already has the energy cards, he is trading in. So basically, what's going to have to happen with David is at one point he's going to have to trade with a 1 prizer, or it's going to be looking pretty grim for him in terms of the prize trade. Let's just see what he does. Okay, that's main
manual
attach for turn.
Yep, so it
So
does
that's
look
setting
like
up-
he's not going to be going to the Koraidon.
Setting up the next attacker.
Yep.
That's fine for now. Because technically you do have 1 more turn to attack with the 1 prizer if you want to.
I think David's considering whether or not he is going to fill up that last bench slot. So again, normally, obviously, Raging Bolt is not usually using that Area 0 under depth, but in this case specifically, since they do play those Terra Teal Mask Gorgapons, David can also take advantage of that bench space.
And it's now become a pretty common aspect of that deck too now, is because a lot of the time using Noctowl and being able to get access to the exact turbo cards you need in order to swing, that kind of is what gives this deck a little bit more power and what gives it a good matchup into certain decks like not like Terapagos, but more so like Dragapult. You could probably do some damage into Terapagos too.
David decided to pass there, actually.
No,
Did
he
he?
did not. No, he did not. He did not.
He made the
This is-
hand motion. Oh, no, I'm sorry. So that was a, so he was just going from that
okay.
position. So,
Yeah.
okay, so that is... Was that his second manual attach?
That's Teal Mask. I know he did attach earlier. I just don't know if that was the Sada versus not.
Okay. Let's see what happens here.
Okay.
Got our Hoot Hoot.
So we're
Okay,
giving ourselves
so
access to Noctowl for other turns, because if Ben does have any disruption and he has no Noctowl, then it's an issue.
so I'm assuming David is holding off on using that Koraidon just in case.
So that's
we've got
2, 3. He needs 5. It's 350. He needs 5. 3,
right.
4, 5.
Yep,
Anticipating
and
that.
there is our multiplication. 7 times 5, we have 35. All right, so that is the Terapagos down. In this case, Ben is promoting the second Terapagos, obviously already charged, ready to go.
He's going to use Flip the Script off Pheasantipity. He draws 3
Yeah.
more cards. I think he needs to bench a Terra.
He does.
It sounds strange to say because he doesn't want his bench to go down and he wants to give himself the option to be able to swing back in response for game off the next turn.
Considering that nest ball.
Because he did Fez.
There it is.
Pokemon was knocked out the previous turn. He's going to Nest Ball. Let's see what he grabs.
Ooh,
Bear.
Blood Moon.
Okay, so now this puts it in a situation where the bench will go down, but Blood Moon is enough anyway. David taking a 2-prize knockout will go to 1 prize card left, which means Blood Moon can attack for free. This essentially, if David attacks with a 2-prizer, this essentially sets up checkmate. So what has to happen now is that we would want to see David bench the Koraidon and swing with it into the Terapagos, so that Ben has to provide a he has to provide a Gust and an attack from Blood Moon or Saluna.
Okay.
I
So
don't
here
see
we
any
go.
disruption out of David's hand right now, and he probably does have to Sada in order to get enough damage to KO this thing
Yes.
with the 2-prizer. So we'll have to see how exactly this is going to go.
Yeah, so David not setting up the Koraidon earlier is we're gonna have to see if that ends up, causing problems for David. Just because now, since we have to, in order to get that Koraidon charged, we're going to have to commit to using Sadas instead of a Boss's Orders or an Iono or something like that. So we'll have to see what David decides to do.
Those energy attaches matter a lot of the time.
Yes, absolutely, especially in the Raging Bolt matchup where those energy are finite and you want to use as many as possible as humanly fast as possible. So, okay, so Earthen Vessel getting 2 more grass energy there.
Yep. So I assume he's just trying to get, like, his goal right now, he's trying to piece out an attack. His plan, David's plan, seems to be just swing with Raging Bolt over and over and over again, like the deck has done in days of old. The only thing that I would stand to, maybe suggest in David's position is potentially just try to attack with a 1-prizer, offset that prize trade, because what's going to happen now is that if you're able to see to the end of the game, Ben does potentially have checkmate in his hand right now. He attacks with Blood Moon. He discards the bench, he swings with Blood Moon, that's game in hand. So
Teal Dance there.
either that or David would have to provide a Bravery Charm to make his HP bigger than
Yes.
240. Blood Moon Ursaluna's attack is 240, so it wouldn't be able to knock it out in that turn. So we'll have to see.
There is another Hoot Hoot, so it is possible that David would be able to get that basic.
Although he did
or
bench
the-
it this turn.
Yeah, so it would have to be until next turn. So we'll have to see what David decides to do.
All right, that's 4.
There's our second Teal Dance.
So we already Sada'd. We already did the double Teal Dance. Or actually, no, it was the double attach from last turn with the Sada. So he would just need to Sada in order to get there, or place down a 3rd Ogerpon is enough. So I think that's what he's going to do.
There's our 3rd Ogerpon.
Okay, he's got it. So he definitely has the swing and response, but unfortunately, that does seem like the response is going to be game from Ben. David's bench is 8. He cannot bench the 1-prizer. I think he realizes this at this point, or he knows he's kind of a little bit iffy. Did he bench the Hoot
It was last turn, I believe. So he can actually use. I do believe he is able to use the Noctowl this turn.
That was my bad.
So Bravery Charm is going to be the or Ancient Booster. Who
So-
knows? David could be using Ancient Booster. So
I think the best route now then is probably maybe KO a 1-prizer, maybe the Bouffalant, so that Ben or one of the Hoot Hoots or the Hoot Hoot, one of the 2 Hoot Hoots. Oh, nope. He's
so
deciding.
David,
It's a best of 3. Sometimes it's just best to decide that, we're scooping it up, go to game 2.
Yeah.
Because we got to decide that game is cooked.
Yeah, that was an interesting game 1 though. It kind of sucks that David didn't see the Koraidon play. It probably could have broken him out of a sticky situation, especially after that turn.
Yes,
3.
for sure. Unless,
attack.
maybe he doesn't realize that the 360 is enough with Ben. Unless it is 60 less damage before resistance, or 60 less damage before weakness. That's
that's
the
a
only thing
good-
if Koraidon is enough on that regard.
We might have to ask that question. That might be a good thing to figure out, because if that is the case, then because if it's 60 less damage before resistance, that would mean it would not be enough damage.
Let me find out.
At least for right now, it does look like we are going to be, obviously for this next game, let's hope that he can see that play going forward. at least for right now.
Okay, so it's 60 less damage after applying weakness and resistance. So now that that's been confirmed, so what that means is that it'll go to 360, then 60 less after that point. So it
So
goes.
it wouldn't be enough.
No, it would be. So because Terapagos' actual HP total is 280 with the Bravery Charm. 60 less damage applies to the 360, so that means it only goes down. It goes down to 320. It is 300 even,
okay.
which is just enough to KO a Terapagos.
Right, because of that 280 health total.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
So now Ben. So
we're getting
what
set
I'd
up
like,
here.
what I'd like to see from David is him recognizing that Ben has produced Terapagos every single time as an attacker with a full bench to knock out those Pokemon. David, we did see that David had the Koraidon to play with, and hopefully we can have him attack repeatedly. David has opted to go second again. You know, maybe there's a world where we could see David go first so that he could get the Fan Rotom into play. Okay. Pass back to David. David can get a one-prize knockout here, potentially if he does have the Gust, if he has Prime Catcher plus Sada plus the attach, or, you know, everything else into play, he could get the knockout on the Terapagos this turn. That could be a big,
And there's our Teal Dance.
big swing there.
Is that a jamming tower?
I see one jamming tower.
That is a jamming
So
tower.
this jamming tower looks like Area 0 under depths, and I don't see much else here. I see an energy. I kind of see... We'll have to see what he
So
can
that is
pull.
actually a very important card in this matchup, obviously, because if a well-placed jamming tower could mess up the the Bravery Charm, and as well as any of the keeping Ben Nace off of his own stadium in the you know, obviously the Area 0. But
Now we
David,
see the Iono. That
Yeah.
means that you're not using Sada. That is a problem. Because
Yeah.
now, well, David needs to put a board together now. So we have the Koraidon. We have an Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball does guarantee the Fan Rotom, so we get a board setup guaranteed. That's great.
Yep.
Um,
I did see that. Oh, there's that Koraidon. He just gave up that Koraidon again.
yeah, I do not think he sees the line where he could potentially do that. I mean, he does. He probably does play Night Stretchers.
That is true.
So
he
you
get
could
it
stretcher
later.
it, play it later.
Yep,
but
absolutely. The other thing interesting too is giving up that jamming tower early. That could have been a very important key piece later.
Yes, I agree. I mean, there aren't a lot of tool cards that really, aside from just the Bravery Charm, which could make David a lot. It could make it a lot easier for David to provide that, because in order for Ben to even get an attack off, he must provide the stadium. Now Ben can just replace the stadium, not really care about it,
We have
kind
a
of be done
pass
with it.
from
So.
David there.
Okay, so this Ultra Ball, we'll see what he grabs, because it could be his first Noctowl. Noctowl could give him a Search card, a Supporter card, anything of the sort. We'll have to see what he can actually produce here, because if he does do that, then he can't retreat the Noctowl this turn, which is probably a good thing in thought here, because David would have to Gust in order to get anything going, and David doesn't have any Noctowl cards out. No Hoot Hoots, no Noctowls. Right now, we're just going bare bones, Raging Bolt deck.
Now, what is the A spec that Terapagos is running nowadays? Super Scoop Up?
It is Super Scoop Up.
Okay. So now we've got so that's an interesting card here, because obviously if David can't secure a knockout, okay. Actually, Ben is actually just giving up Super Scoop Up altogether, going for that Professor's Research. It
Well,
looks
because
like so.
the problem is that Raging Bolt likely will be one-shotting your Pokemon no matter what anyway, so there's no damage to really heal effectively by playing the Scoop Up Cyclone, so it's kind of a useless card.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, like we said before, with David already having a jamming tower in play, all it would take is Ben Nace to pick up one Area 0 Underdepths to start his game plan. So we'll have to see if he picks it up from the Professor's Research. There it is. Yep, so that's our Area 0 Underdepths given up there. Terapagos is now charged, so Ben is now going to start loading his bench. Oh, he did end up using the Super Scoop up there. Interesting. So he had the Area 0 Underdepths in hand, and he hadn't used the Professor's Research yet, so that's what happened there. Okay, so now we're going to have to see what Ben decides to do.
Got some chatters in the chat. Welcome, welcome. John Smoke and Mirrors, love that guy. I love that guy too. He's
Yeah, he's a pretty cool
Smoke
dude.
and Mirrors local shop. John's pretty cool dude. I like him a
Pretty
lot.
cool guy, yeah.
Oh, David kind of recognizing there ain't a lot going on with his board.
Not sure, actually.
So I think, I think that's Christian Epo DR, our fellow caster, if I'm not mistaken. Did Did Dan win on Friday? We're referring to another local. If you've ever been to Smoke and Mirrors on Long Island, great local place to be, as well as Collectors Emporium that this tournament is sponsored by. I do not know. I wish I knew.
We could probably look it up. Well, in the meantime,
we ended up running home before them.
In the meantime, Tropicos EX going for that knockout on that Teal Mask Orgapon, taking the first 2 prize cards here. So remember you were talking about before about having that lead, right? Taking those first 2 prize cards in a beat stick matchup like this. So this is going to be tough. We're going to have to see how David responds. It's not looking good.
It does not look good at all. David did not get any of his Noctowl Lions into play, did not get any of his attackers into play, has no energy, no setup. And Ben's got a bench of 7. Like, if at the very most, David could string together a 1-prize knockout. The problem now is that if Ben just benches another Pokemon and swings again, what happens? You know, David, that's probably too much of a gap to get past in order to win the game. But we'll have to see what he's capable of doing. Looks like he's trying to get some energy, maybe thin the deck. If he can get Pheasantipity down, maybe draw some cards, try to get to where he needs to go in terms of, you know, just stringing together a good attack. That has got to be his best. Oh, he's shaking his head.
Yeah,
he don't
like it. Yeah, I also did get to catch there was another Tropicos in Ben's hand, so Ben can absolutely get to that 8 bench space next turn to knock out this Raging Bolt. So we're going to have to see what he decides to do.
Seems like it might be a pretty decisive game 2. It is currently Swiss. We currently have 22 minutes in Swiss, so there is a chance for a game 3. Both of these decks do function pretty quickly if the players are piloting them at decent speed, so we'll have to see what happens, although Ben is looking pretty dominant in this match.
Absolutely. The only thing I do see is that there are not 2 Bouffaline in play. There's only 1 Bouffaline in play in this case. David has decided to give up the Latias as a...
And I think that's an okay move. I mean, where David already knows that he's in a bad situation, he has to be able to string together 1 attack and so that he doesn't immediately lose. There
there's a Crispin. Yep,
Crispin
so
to charge up a second Terapagos. Yep. Right now, we're effectively setting up a checkmate board state, almost no matter what.
Yeah,
almost guaranteed.
And Ben actually opted not to even put because Ben, noticing that he's in such a dominant board position here, opted not even to put down the second Bouffaline.
Doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. So just going for the straight 240, going to try and end the game right here. So we will see. Ben's just deciding
what he wants to attach to. I assume he just attaches and charges up another Terapagos. That's really what you want to do.
Yeah, 1 and 1.
Okay, so that's smart. 1 and 1 as well, so that all he needs is an attach in order to swing.
And then
so he'll knock out. And now it is up to David. 1 card to draw, 3 cards in hand total, I believe, either 3 or 4 now. He will have to piece together the world in order to get a return KO.
And he can't even use the Cridon. Right, because there's no attack,
turn.
So I think it's brave. It has to be exactly Bravery Charm on.
Bravery Charm swing is the only out. Now the problem is that since we're benching Pheasantipity, we do open ourselves up to a counterattack.
Right? So
there
is a Hoot in play, so Ben can grab it.
He'd have to have double Bravery Charm. He'd have to have Sada, double Bravery Charm, and at least 4 energy. I believe it's 280 because. Or actually, no. Yeah, no, 280 because
he gave up a Teal Mask already, right?
So 1 Bouffaline in play, plus there's no Bravery Charm on the Terapagos, so it's 70 times the amount of energy. You need 4 to hit 280. So because 220 or 210 is not enough to KO the Terapagos. So we're going to have to see what happens here.
There's a Teal Mask.
And a Hoot. We've got the main attach.
So now we have access to the actual attack itself. He just goes straight for the...
David responds, and that's it.
Okay,
all right.
And that's our game, guys.
Swift 2-0 from Ben Nason to David Headland. Definitely David not drawing very well in the second game. Did not look too good for him there. But
really dominant performance by Ben, though. Genuinely, that's what that deck does, man. It gets set up really quickly, straight into that 2 energy attack to hit for 240. Genuinely a good showing there.
I think Ben recognizing that David didn't really have a lot of variance in terms of what his attackers are. He kind of saw that David's attack stream was just Raging Bolt, Raging Bolt, Raging Bolt. The only thing that Ben really needs to do in that situation is just attack with Terapagos. And if he whiffs an attack, Ben wins. If he takes the first 2 prize cards, Ben wins. If David missequences and, again, whiffs an attack, Ben wins. So, it kind of comes down to that, and I think Ben definitely just executed that strategy very well. I would have liked to see the Ancient Koraidon, because after Ben offers his first attacker, that is a Terapagos. That is easy to hit if you attack
Yeah.
with a Raging Bolt the previous turn.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And
maybe
funnily
you
enough,
could go
I'm pretty sure the
2/1/2.
Koraidon can go into itself, right? If a Koraidon
It can't.
attacks.
It can't. It's one of your other ancient Pokemon. So it has to be Raging Bolt, Koraidon, Raging Bolt, Koraidon. It has to go in. It has to go back and forth.
Which, although that deck can do that,
It
though.
can.
Yeah.
It can. But the idea is that you always want to attack with Raging Bolt first, and then you would attack
Right,
with
with the
Koraidon
Koraidon.
and maybe combine some sort of hand disruption, something like that. Force David to make a move in
Yes,
response,
absolutely.
or force Ben to actually have something. If he doesn't, then you get to attack again, and that's great. But if you don't get to attack, then it's curtains. So
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, in this case, we did get to see that where David in that second game really didn't get to any draw.
Yeah.
It kind of, was a really rough one for David. And unfortunately, being in that position where we were already in game 2, it looked like it was going to get closed out pretty quickly. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened there. So,
Yep. So let's see with our production team. Are we going to get an interview with Mr. Nace, or are we just chilling until next round? It's okay if not. You know,
Yeah,
we can take a quick commercial break, talk about something else going on. We can talk about the TCG show if y'all wanna, but
Yeah.
really up to you.
They got a lot of really cool. I was looking around before. They actually got a lot of really cool stuff. For one, here, actually, I'm
My
going to leave
son.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ben is coming over for an interview. Okay.
So we'll talk about this later. We're going to get some Ben action
All right.
here. So,
Mind if I interview the victor? Maybe
Yes,
go,
absolutely.
take a nice little hydration break for yourself.
Yes,
Remember to hydrate,
absolutely. Listen.
or else I will probably hurt you if you do not hydrate.
You will or Spheel will?
Both of us will.
Oh, that's
Please hydrate.
That's really dangerous.
I'm keeping track of you. Please hydrate.
I will.
Okay.
All right, so we're getting Ben.
Let's
Nason
get our
out.
boy here.
All right, Ben.
Hydration break. Hi, Ben. What's going on, homie? All right.
All right.
Welcome. Hi.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations on your win.
team.
I know, definitely an interesting experience, right? This is my second time doing it, so it feels definitely very strange. Simple and quick. Terapagos versus Raging Bolt. Matchup comes down. Seems like you were just prize trading pretty well.
Yeah, it really just comes down to starting a single prize board state. It's not the same threat level of getting like prime captured anymore, so you can kind of like put 2 prizes on the bench. A little risky, but you can do it now.
Okay.
But yeah, really you just look to make them take a 1 prize KO. Just take 3 2 prize KOs. It's very simple.
Definitely seemed like game 2 was a little bit more open and shut. Seemed like
Yeah.
a little bit of a brick there, but
Yeah.
I mean, anything you saw from David's play that kind of made you change your strategy, or what you were just kind of trading into, or
Not too much. I know I was basically looking out for Bravery Charms the whole game.
Okay.
Because Bravery Charms will just completely disrupt my prize map. Got to go look for Clefairy then to actually take a KO.
okay, yeah, no, makes sense for sure. I mean, as far as, I guess, what are the key players in that matchup? Terapagos versus Raging Bolt, the numbers do work pretty well in your favor. They have to, it's kind of like Dragapult, where they have to, if they're attacking with Raging Bolt over and over, they have to string together 5 energy KOs.
Yes.
Right, a lot.
Yep.
So I guess as far as getting that set up every time, do you feel like the deck is very consistent at that, or?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty consistent at that. And you definitely have the ability to Iono them and kind of disrupt them to make it harder to actually get to those 5 energies they need every turn.
Okay, cool. Excellent. I mean, hey, looks like a pretty open and shut case from your end. You'll be moving on as well at 1-0. Couple rounds in the tournament. We hope to see you in cut. Anything else you want to add for the deck, or anybody else?
Not too much. Deck's really fun. I like it a lot.
All
Yeah.
right. Perfect. Hey, appreciate you
Thank
talking with
you.
me for a hot minute there. We will be taking a quick break, and we will be right back with round 2 once it kicks off. So don't go anywhere.
We are here in Long Island, Chew and Brew, killing it as always.
I want to try out the Pokemon brews.
Pallet Town Pilsner, the Hop Hip IPA, Bulba Sour.
Excited for the cards, excited to try some beers. It's going to be a good time.
We're running cornhole tournaments every hour on the hour.
Much more of a Pokemon master than a cornhole master, but we're out here.
It's wild that this is the crowd that's already here.
We're doing meet and greets and Q&As with Pokemon voice actors. Put that up on the gram. Hey, I met Jason Page, the guy that did the Pokemon song.
Favorite part about coming to these events absolutely is the community. You're always able to find some cool stuff.
I like trading for my Bidoof collection.
Here's for Pikachu.
I'm really excited to hear the Pokemon theme song live. I know the whole thing by heart.
Are you guys sing along?
Of course I am.
Make some noise, Uterano.
come here and you see all these people and you talk and you make friends and you trade cards, so it's a great community event.
I'm in line for the cosplay contest here at the Chew and Brew.
The competition was super fierce. I got to play against my nephew. So much fun. This is a great experience.
Let's go. You know, LITCG is the best show. Got the best vibes here.
It is my first time at the Long Island Trading Card Game Show, and to see there was so much stuff here that really interested me was cool.
I wanted some dragons, some full art waifus, I should say, you know.
Welcome.
I just came here for the video game tournament. This is so cool to see.
We're doing a fundraiser for Rachel Lillis.
Something that people can bond over, to spend time with their children.
I'm so stoked to be. I waited 25 years for this moment.
Exodia! Obliterate!
Everybody has a favorite Pokemon, so it's just really fun to connect with the community.
What are you doing right now?
I'm getting a tattoo.
The genuine relationships that I can find through it, you can't put money on that.
What I like is to bring back nostalgia.
I really like the vendors, especially when there's artists.
I freaking love going to trade.
It was so awesome. Definitely looking forward to the next show.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel from very shore, searching far and wide. These Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Oh, you're my best friend. In the world we must defend. That's your part. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I'm true. I'm coming from Vola through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Make some noise, Uterano. Every challenge along the way, with courage I will face. I will battle every day and claim my rightful place. Come with me, the time is right. There's no better team. Arm in arm, we'll win the fight. It's all within my dream. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Oh, you're my best friend. In a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's so true. I'm coming from Vola through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Put your hands together, people. Gotta catch 'em all. All right, here we go. Last minute improv. Gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Improv guitar. Sing it with me, nation. Pokemon, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Oh, you're my best friend. In the world we must defend. Hey, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I'm so true. I'm coming to pull us through. Sing it. You teach me and I'll teach you. Oh,
We love LITCG show.
We've been coming to the Long Island TCG show for like the last 6-7 months, and every single month is just a banger.
We love the TCG show.
We are here in Long Island Chewing Brew, killing it as always.
I want to try out the Pokemon brews.
Pallet Town Pilsner, the Hop Hip IPA, Bulba Sour.
Excited for the cards, excited to try some beers. It's going to be a good time.
We're running cornhole tournaments every hour on the hour.
Much more of a Pokemon master than a cornhole master, but we're out here.
It's wild that this is the crowd that's already here.
We're doing meet and greets and Q&As with Pokemon voice actors. Put that up on the gram. Hey, I met Jason Page, you know, the guy that did the Pokemon song.
Favorite part about coming to these events absolutely is the community. You're always able to find some cool stuff.
I like trading for my Bidoof collection.
Here's for Pikachu.
I'm really excited to hear the Pokemon theme song live. I know the whole thing by heart.
Are you guys sing along?
Of course I am.
Make some noise, Uterano.
Come here and you see all these people and you talk and you make friends and you trade cards, so it's a great community event.
I'm in line for the cosplay contest here at the Chew and Brew.
The competition was super fierce. I got to play against my nephew. So much fun. This is a great experience.
Let's go. You know LITCG is the best show. Got the best vibes here.
It is my first time at the Long Island Trading Card Game Show, and to see there was so much stuff here that really interested me was cool.
I wanted some dragons, some full art waifus, I should say, you know.
Welcome.
I just came here for the video game tournament. This is so cool to see.
We're doing a fundraiser for Rachel Lillis.
Something that people can bond over, to spend time with their children.
I'm so stoked to me. I waited 25 years for this moment.
Exodia, obliterate!
Everybody has a favorite Pokemon, so it's just really fun to connect with the community.
What are you doing right now?
I'm getting a tattoo.
The genuine relationships that I can find through it, you can't put money on that.
What I like is to bring back nostalgia.
I really like the vendors, especially when there's artists.
I freaking love going to trade.
It was so awesome. Definitely looking forward to the next show.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel go very short, searching far and wide. These Pokemon do understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Oh, you're my best friend. In the world, we must defend. That's your part. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I'm coming from Vola through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Make some noise, Uterano. Every challenge along the way, with courage I will face. I will battle every day and claim my rightful place. Come with me, the time is right. There's no better team. Arm in arm, we'll win the fight. It's all within my dream. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Oh, drums, guitars. Sing it with me, make sure. Pokemon, you feel me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend. In the world we must defend. Hey, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. I have to do. I'm ready to pull us through. Sing it. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon. Make some noise, Uterano!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We made it. High five.
Round 2.
Freshly hydrated. You told me to.
I did tell you to. But welcome back to the Long Island TCG Show Tournament Series number 2. We are your casters, the Battle Bros. It is Nicholas and Andrew Uterano here at the desk, talking to you, coming to you live from beautiful Melville, Long Island, New York, in the Hilton for the Long Island TCG Show. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Thank you guys to the TCG Show for keeping us all together, having a venue for us to tell you guys a little bit more about it. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. Probably audio was cutting out a little bit. But to let you guys know, we got TCG shows going all the way from now until September into October. New date in the
Pokemon cards, you're looking for Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic. There's even some new card games showing up here and there. The Long Island TCG Show is going to have it for you. Again, so many different dates, June 22nd, July 19th, September 13th,
and
most recent.
The one big date to note will be the big TCG show we have May 3rd and 4th at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. That is in Uniondale. That is way more vendors than normal, 400 vendor tables. We have meet and greets from incredible talent across anime, card game history. You have, again, Chuck Huber, Dante Basco, Jake Ode, Jason Page, Linda Young, Lisa Ortiz, Tara Sands, Stuart Sagan, Veronica Taylor. Again, childhood. Oh my God. We will have
the nostalgia, man.
We will have panels. We will have meet and greets. We will have, you name it, we got it for famous voice actors across anime history. Nostalgia still going.
Looks like a great show.
Also,
honestly. I mean,
live performance from Jason Page, who is the singer of the original Pokemon theme song. He will be performing on that Sunday. So if you want to come by and check it out, Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, definitely want to suggest that as well. We will also, our team will also be having a TCG tournament, Pokemon TCG tournament that day. So if you want to come by and have a nice little big old grassroots tournament at a very nice venue, then come check it out. We will have some prizing
I know
there for you.
Obviously on the island, we have a lot of Islanders fans here. A lot of them have been to the Coliseum before, but I definitely myself have, and it's a nice place. So definitely going to be a good thing to see. Whole bunch of tables, whole bunch of people, a lot of shows. It's just going to be a big, gigantic party, man. Have you seen any? Have there been any cards that you've been on the lookout for? Anything that you might see at the big show, or something that you might see here?
Mostly just playables. I'm looking for, now that EV Box has kind of cemented itself as a pretty good deck in the format. A lot of people, Nathan Ginsburg's testing group has cemented that list as of earlier on today. Those lists started posting online. His little baby has hit the meta, so I might be getting a couple little playables for that at base rarity, because
support some of the local shops, get some
high rarity EV cards are very, very expensive, and
absolutely.
But mostly just playables for that. Nothing else really catching my eye just yet. But if I need an extra $5 for getting those cards, then I will certainly let you know for a small business loan.
I got you. Yeah, we can talk about that interest
with an aggressively high interest rate.
For me, I'm gonna crack open my box of secrets here. Let's see if I can find it. This is my Pokemon deck here. I'm gonna be looking for. Where is it? Here it is. This is my card. I'm gonna be looking for here. Show the camera. We got our nice Joltik. It's a little. Can't really see it because
that's fine.
But that's okay.
SIR Joltik for your little Miraidon deck that you've been playing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little fun. I'm gonna hit the show floor a little bit later. Look for that card there.
Tons of vendors. Everything's pretty reasonably priced. different card games, plushies, Pokemon memorabilia, as well as other card game memorabilia.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
name it. But name of the game today for this stream is still the Pokemon TCG stream. We are getting ready to kick off round 2 after we saw a pretty decisive round 1 victory by Ben Nace over David Headland. That is Tank Terapagos over Raging Bolt Noctowl. So
we haven't seen Dragapult yet. I know obviously we were only allowed to see one round there, but no Dragapult yet. We'll have to see some of the other players.
Funny enough, we did actually confirm that Atlanta Regionals being this weekend, at least two Dragapults have made top 8. I'd like to actually get a confirmation from the TCG Standard Center what the top 8 for that tournament is. I'm going to find out right now.
Yeah, you do that.
It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dragapults in the top 8 of this tournament, 2 Gardevoirs, and a asymmetrical cut versus Goldengo. It's Goldengo and Terapagos Noctowl.
So for those at home,
that is wild.
Yeah, so for those at home who don't understand the asymmetrical cut, run us through that.
So
what's going on with that?
Certain people, basically how the tournament math works out is that certain people have to play one additional game to decide who gets into top cut. That is the TLDR of it. So there's only one additional match for asymmetrical cut. Everybody else seems to have gotten it. It is 3 Dragapult Dusknoyers, 2 Dragapult EX, 1 Pure Gardevoir EX, 1 Ends Zoroark Gardevoir EX, and the asymmetrical cut match is Goldengo EX versus Terapagos EX Noctowl.
Absolutely.
So Dragapult EX cementing itself as an incredible archetype. 5 in the top 8. I don't think there has been 5 decks in the top 8 in a little while. You know,
it was Lugia, right?
Very good looking.
Charizard, Lugia, and Miraidon, I think, were the last 3.
I mean, Palkia EX or Palkia V-Star when it came out was all of the top 8 slots
Palkia
in EU.
Noctowl?
No. This was Palkia. This was Palkia Dusknoyer. Or no. This was just pure Palkia. What am I talking? Palkia and Teleon, which is way back. This was before you started playing. It was Palkia and Teleon for that long. So Dragapult looking to be a dominant deck, and also both archetypes too. There were 2 pure Dragapult EXs in top 8, and they are currently playing their top 8 match right now, as well as 3 Dragapult EX Dusknoyers as well. So it is Andrew Hedrick, Abonamed, and Saris Jones on Dusknoyer, and then Tanner Hurley and the New York area's only Sebastian Lashmet on pure Dragapult. So
what about those Guardies?
Guardies? Oh, you might know this man. Henry Chow on Enzork Guardi EX versus Orlando Karam, who I have not seen. Probably their first top 8, or maybe even multiple top 8s as Gardevoir EX. So
so big names in that top cut, man. Those will be definitely some very fierce matches to watch.
Yes,
but
very much so.
Hopefully, we'll see some good skill level here. You know,
I am going to check right now. I'm going to check right now actually to see if that match is still going on. It does look like Tanner is up 1-0 against Lashmet. For those of you who are following the competitive scene, now let's get back to our own competitive scene where competition is hitting up. We are seeing who are our next competitors taking the stream table. It looks like we're pairing right now. Just got the word from the from production staff over here. So
Nick, tell me, what have you been playing for the time being while we're getting set up? I mean, obviously you saw some of my Miraidon cards here. I got Miraidon going. What have you been playing?
I'm not a fan of Miraidon, I must say. I have to see it prove itself a little bit more before we actually get everything going. However, I am a Dragapult enjoyer. I have been playing pure Dragapult for a long time, and I am continuing to play it into this format. I knew that there were going to be some people who got some really high placements with it. I think the deck is very good. It just depends on what techs and what consistency cards you're going to be playing. I am waiting to see if not my friend, but an acquaintance of mine, Leshmet, I've seen him at a couple League Cups, spoken with him once or twice. Definitely very cool dude, and I think his deck list is going to be insane, so I want to keep my eyes out for that.
How do you feel on that Crystal versus Unfair stamp? Because I know that's a big argument right
Dusk
now.
Dragapult, if you're looking to win the mirror against Stamp Dragapult, Crystal is very good. If you are playing against almost anything else, I think Stamp is better. So if you're planning for a regional room, then maybe Stamp is probably a better option for you, which is, I think, what people are going for. Otherwise, Crystal. Okay, interesting matchup coming up. We've got a Raging Bolt EX, again, versus a Iono's Belly Bolt EX, which is Electric Box.
Yeah.
So we're getting everything set up here. is going. Yep. Okay. Cool. So we've got Belly Bolt versus Raging Bolt. That will be the next stream.
Yeah,
match.
so Iono's Belly Bolt, another one of those trainers Pokemon that just came out during Journey Together. Obviously, having access to the Belly Bolt, which is the arguably the crux of the deck, that allows you to attach as many number of electric energy from your hand to any of your Iono's Pokemon, as many as you need to, and then obviously the Iono's Voltorb, which is 20 times the number of all electric energy that you have.
You also have Iono's Kilowattrel, discard an electric, and then you draw to 6, which is very good. And then you have the Levantia Stadium, which is every turn you can get 2 electric energy from your discard pile and then add them back into your hand. One of them can be used. Oh, we got a coin flip. Traditional in its aspect over the dice.
Absolutely.
So who has chosen first? Richard has won the coin flip, and he is going second with Raging Bolt against Iono's Belly Bolt.
All right, so let's see. So now again, let's see. We're gonna have to see what fighting type Pokemon Richard has chosen as his fighting type attacker. Obviously, you know, we talked about before when we were watching the match between David Headland, and Ben Nace. It's either that Koraidon or the Slitherwing. So we're gonna have to see.
Looks like production staff is shifting the tablecloth. A little bit of technical difficulty there.
That's okay. That's a nice mat, though. Look at
That is
that.
look at that map.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Lugia, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres. Very, very nice there.
Bird up. Pour one out for Lugia.
Yeah. Our poor Lugia man.
Also looks like for production staff, it looks like our camera feed has also stuttered a little bit. So just as a fair warning to you, Miss Nicole, I have not. It looks like the camera feed has frozen for us.
Okay, so Kenneth does have a basic Pokemon.
Richard looks like Richard does as well.
Yep.
Oh. Heard a little bit from from our tournament organizer, Anthony. Sounds like this is Kenneth's first local. Nice little stream.
Hey, there we go.
A little bit new here.
Nice. We like to see that. So good. Again, listen, this is the kind of thing that we like to talk about here. We want the scene to be inclusive. This is a brand new player taking a chance, jumping in, having some fun with the game. This is the kind of stuff that we want to see. This is the kind of stuff that we want to try to encourage people to do here. So
and with the fist bump, we have got things going. One more time as a reminder to our production staff, the camera feed shows frozen from our angle. Just want to let you know about that. But up to you. Now, we've started with Voltorb and a Buddy Poffin. No, it did not fix it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get our camera set up, fixed up here in a second, but we're going to keep commenting. So at least for right now, it does look like we're going to be going with the... what's it called? The Buddy Poffin, probably going to be grabbing 2, probably an Iono's Pokemon. Oh, yeah, look at that. So it's going to be looking like it's 2 Buddy Poffin. So 2 Iono's Voltorb and an Iono's Wattrel there. So looking good on Kenneth's side, getting a lot of stuff set up here.
Heavy line of the Voltorbs. I guess the idea being is that we're going to try and string together attackers over and over. With regards to, I see the 1 Timpole and the 1 Wattrel. So he's going to have the Draw Engine in the Kilowattrel as well as the Belly Bolt EX. So we're going to have to see how exactly that goes. Believe we have our stream judge, Anthony, helping out with Kenneth. He passed over to Richard. Richard is playing the deck that David Headland was playing, which is Raging Bolt, Noctowl.
And again, it looks like that fighting type Pokemon Slitherwing. We see it on the bench there. Very important in this matchup.
Yes, it is. It is an important play in the matchup because you do have the ability to swing for weakness into everything on Kenneth's board. Ideally, trade 1 for 2 every time. Go 2-2-2, win.
Yep.
Easy peasy now.
Absolutely. So it looks like Squawk and Seize is going to come down here in a second, but Earthen Vessel first. Again, we kind of talk about getting those energy into that discard pile so that they can be grabbed via Sada's later. And now, obviously, Richard is going second here, so Sada's Vitality is on the table here.
Although, I don't think you really need to commit a 2-prizer, because if Kenneth does evolve and gets all the energy to attack with a Voltorb, unlikely as that may be, you do lose 2-prizer, and that is not good. So I think what our best option is here is that maybe get the Sada together, maybe just swing with the Fanrotom with a Stadium into the Voltorb if Richard has the Stadium. You have a couple options there. So let's just see what he does.
So a fighting and an electric energy here.
We are preparing the Squawk and Seize. That is on your first turn. You may, main attach to the Rotom. So it looks like we do see a potential of attack. Squawk and Seize.
Yep, there
First
we go.
turn, going set. First turn on both players' sides. You can the player who has the Squawk ability can discard their hand and draw 6. That is only on their opening turn. So great card for getting a huge pumping through your deck. But after that, it's kind of just a 160 HP Pokemon that sits on the board. So let's see what Richard does.
I mean,
Looks
we have
like-
seen a couple of motivates every once in a while, so it's it is something that we have seen.
All right, so we've activated Fan Call now.
Now, see, this is an interesting move here because obviously, we're going to go for the Fan Call, obviously, but Richard does need a Stadium in play. But if Richard can get a Stadium in play, he can attack and just use the Fan Rotom to knock out a Voltorb.
It does give him the ability. It does give him the option to have initiative taking the first one. He can go 1-2-2-1, which is 4 attacks. Kenneth, if he does get the 2-prize knockout in response, things can get a little bit dicey. But since Richard does have the Slitherwing, then he can respond with that always. So let's just see what Richard puts down first. Yeah, just looking through his
his
deck.
hand, yeah.
Hand and deck right now, at least.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's our Fan Call selection there. Okay, there's our first Steel Mask.
Does he have the Stadium?
Looking for that Stadium card. No Hoot Hoots
the
either.
thing is benching the Hoot Hoots and everything. If Richard does bench the Stadium, then Kenneth can remove it if he plays Lavancha. So maybe it might be a little bit less safe in order to actually do that.
So Richard choosing to pass here.
Yep, he does pass because he did not draw into a Stadium, so he cannot attack with the Fan Rotom. The Fan Rotom's attack is 70 damage for 1 colorless energy, but you got to have a Stadium in play to do that. So let's see what Kenneth does in response.
So Voltorb able to attack here.
It'll only attack for 40, if I'm not mistaken. And we've got the Iono. Kenneth recognizing that the other cards in his hand are not great. Also, Richard did pull cards into his hand from the Fan Rotom, so definitely a good idea to get those out of the hand as fast as possible. Let's just see what both players draw.
Okay, did Kenneth get anything helpful?
I see another Timpole, but doesn't really help us too much. Bit of energy.
There's a second Timpole.
Which is good.
So with an Ultra
backup
Ball,
Belly Bolt's good.
Yeah, so with an Ultra Ball here, we can secure the Belly Bolt.
Egen.
Oh, Egen. Okay, so Electric Generator, grabbing off the top 5 cards of the deck, up to 2 Lightning Energy found. So let's see what energy we're found. That is a 2 energy Egen.
Egen only does hit max 2, or you can attach max 2. So now we've got 80. So Kenneth, on his own, does take a 1-prize knockout here, I believe.
Fan Rotom's actually weak to Electric, so it would have been good at 40.
Oh.
Yeah. So regardless, Kenneth does have the 1-prize knockout here. But we'll have to see what he decides to do, just because... Oh, he just went for the 1-prize knockout. Okay.
All right, easy peasy. So now, see, the thing with Richard now is that because Kenneth has taken a 1-prize knockout, if Richard provides a 2-prizer, and then Kenneth does also get the 2-prize knockout, things can get a little awkward. But, okay, Richard is debating what he wants to put up into the active. Okay, deciding that the Slitherwing is the one to beat here.
Did see a Sada in hand.
He does have the 1. Checking his discard pile to see if that's going to be there. Okay. So that is what he will do. Ideally, if he does have, there's the 1 to the Raging Bolt. He does have 2 charged attacks now. This is good. We'll just see if he has the attach to the Slitherwing in order to be able to attack this turn, because the attack does cost 2 fighting.
Okay, so our Teal Dance, draw another card. I see another teal mask.
Hand's big, but nothing crazy. I do see a Vessel, though. So the Vessel does guarantee grass and fighting.
Yep.
So we'll have to see. He probably benches another teal mask Ogerpon here, potentially, if he does have the
Or
other.
a Hoot Hoot, potentially.
Probably a Hoot Hoot, actually. You'd want to set up the Noctowl on the follow-up turns, unless you're just deciding that you're going to be playing just a Raging Bolt deck without the Noctowl lines. So to that point.
Might go for another teal mask.
Could. Let's see what he grabs.
Because obviously Kenneth's damage output right now is fairly minimal. We're looking at 80 damage at the moment with 4 energy in play.
Yes.
So...
Let's see what we got. Okay, benching Fan Rotom. Okay, so this is interesting, right? So Fan Rotom, now Richard is saying that if he continues to bench one prizers, then we will have to go back and forth trading the 70 HP Pokemon if Richard has a stadium. Let's see what happens. There's the Jamming Tower Stadium.
Okay, so preventing any tool cards from going out here. So there's our Earthen Vessel to secure that second fighting energy. Hopefully things will kind of be working through here. Okay, so Earthen Vessel and Earthen Vessel. Going to go for those 2 energies. So pretty standard, usage of effect here. This is really what we want to see Raging Bolt kind of do in this kind of matchup, especially with, when using those fighting type attackers.
All right,
so we've got
there's
a
our first
knockout.
attack. So we're trading 1 for 1. Burning Turbulence. The attack seems to, seems to be 120, burns it, takes 90, burns the opponent's active Pokemon. That is more than enough damage needed to knock out, so Kenneth will be able to respond back with a 1 prizer. We'll have to see what exactly Kenneth does in response here.
Okay, so it doesn't look like Kenneth has much to work with. That is 2 lightning energy.
I do see Iono.
Iono.
Oh no, so we can get through the deck a little faster.
Okay, yeah, so we're going to see some more cards here. Really trying to find that Iono's Kilowattrel and Iono's Belly Bolt here. Kind of really the most important cards for Kenneth to see here.
Kenneth draws 5. Richard also draws 5 based on the prize cards they have currently.
All right, let's see what we got. 2 Nest Balls and another Iono. Ooh, this has just not been going well for Kenneth's hands here. So do we do have another Nest Ball? Let's see what other support Pokemon Kenneth can run here.
Just double check. I'll double check our standings from Atlanta as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so another.
Down
All
to
right,
3.
so we're looking to see Kenneth at least put one of those Belly Bolts down. I don't know if they haven't seen any Ultra Balls. There haven't been anything of that sort yet. The Voltorb with the 2 electric energy on sight can still knock out this. This Slitherwing, obviously, because of the damage numbers from Burning Turbulence. So in this case, Kenneth does take another prize card. I wonder if any of those Belly Bolts were prized. Maybe that's what's happening here. I mean, because we've been through about 40 cards, give or take.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through a good couple of cards here. I see a lot of single prizers and not a lot of attacks happening. So I think Richard, seeing that, is going to go for our bigger attacker.
Absolutely. See, and Richard actually is making a really okay.
Kilowattrel.
So
All right, so just Kilowattrel on the prizes. Nothing too crazy. Thank you to our production staff for checking that for us. We appreciate that. So we'll leave that alone for now. So he does have access to the Belly Bolts and everything else. So Pheasantipity going down, 3 cards to draw after a Pokemon was knocked out the previous turn. Easy peasy.
Okay, so here we go. I wonder if Richard is going to try to... Yeah, see, so no, I wonder if Richard's going to try and go for that Teal Dance and just continuously attack with the Orgapon here. I'll have to see what he decides to do. Not really much going on Kenneth's side. Okay, replacing his own stadium with an Area 0.
He can do that. If the stadium was played on the previous turn, he can replace his own stadium with another stadium. Area 0, his bench is now 8.
Once
And he
again,
doesn't have a stadium.
making that bench size 8, and here we go. So now we're starting to see that Hoot Hoots. Richard trying to, kind of run away with the game here a little bit.
Yep.
We'll have to see what he decides to do. So that is a manual attach fighting energy. Could potentially be getting, ooh, that's a spicy card. You see that?
I did not see it.
That was a baby Raging Bolt.
Okay, so you have a snipe. The 90 snipe,
Which
I
actually
believe it
is
is.
kind of relevant here with
Well,
this board state.
I don't think so. Mainly just because it's just a lot of one prizers right now. I mean, you can remove the Wattrell. That's the main big thing, which will remove Kenneth's access to draw from the Kilowatt Trail.
Right.
But it really just kind of depends on what exactly he wants to do, really. Because all Richard needs to do is just continue to take one prizers. If Kenneth whiffs an attack on a specific turn, then that would be Richard's out to being able to take more than 2 prize cards and get up in the prize race. We'll just have to see what happens here, though. Because Kenneth does not have his Belly Bolt into, or their Belly Bolt into active, or is not online yet, I mean, we just got all one prizers here. We can't really do too much. Yep, there you go. Richard seeing that maybe potentially having the 2 prizer on the board is a potential liability. Richard then opts to to assault landing and attack the Voltorb. We're trading 1 for 1. It's going to take a while.
Yep, absolutely. So obviously both of these decks being what we would consider to be pretty stable turbo lists, both have really not really drawn that well.
Holding the
here.
boss, and we're knocking out the Voltorb. Yeah. All of the energy now currently off the board, save 1 lightning. So, pushing up a Timpole.
Need a Belly Bolt.
Kenneth kind of realizing he does not have much right now. Oof. That's another Iono. We're going to be going through the deck again, but he did deck search before, I believe.
Yep.
So it's kind of tough.
So, I mean, it's looking like another Iono is going to get dropped here.
Nest Ball for something. We'll have to see if he has a Fez in the deck. Maybe that's probably the answer to try and draw more cards. I did see the Belly Bolt in the deck. I do see TM Energize. I see a couple of options here. He could bench another Voltorb. Okay.
Yep, looking like it's going with the Voltorb option. I didn't see a Fez in there, so I don't think.
No Fez.
Yeah,
and I think we did get shown the prizes a little bit before, so there is no Fez in the deck.
Yep. So at least for right now, it's looking like Kilowattrel and an Ultra Ball are going to be our, or an Ultra Ball into Kilowattrel is looking like it's going to be our, our 2 cards to get.
Yes. The 3rd Iono has hit the deck list.
All right.
Now, that's going to the bottom.
So
Kenneth draws 4.
Hits.
Richard draws 4. I feel like we've seen this twice before.
We
6
have.
to
This
6,
is the
5 to 5,
third time.
4 to 4.
Yes.
Hopefully, Richard or Kenneth could provide another Iono when we go from 3 to 3. That would be fantastic.
So Kenneth, I'm not seeing any of. Oh goodness, that is boss's orders.
A pass from Kenneth. See, this is what we were talking about. So now Fan Rotom can attack again. Now Richard gets the lead and thus has initiative on the matchup. There's another Sada. We've got our attackers set up now. It's another Raging Bolt. Now we're going to see, 2 attackers set. 2 Raging Bolts potentially off the attach. And he gets the 2 attack with a Fan Rotom. Excuse me. Richard probably does seem to be in a good position here. We will have to see how Kenneth responds because right now we do not have a lot of energy cards to provide.
Teal Dance, and it's really unfortunate for Kenneth in this case, just because not finding any of those really key evolution Pokemon, kind of stalling the game out here.
Very true.
So another Assault Landing, taking another prize card, 3 to 4. So let's see what Kenneth decides to do here.
Kenneth draws.
Ooh,
another electric
energy.
And now he does not have anything, really. He can attack.
Yeah.
He can attack for 40.
He can't actually. The
that
electric circuit, it's 2. Yeah, so the Belly Bolt.
And anything that he bosses up, unfortunately, can retreat with the Latias, so it doesn't look very good.
Yeah. Yeah,
passes
it's
back.
Like,
yeah.
So it's looking like this is pretty much the end of this one. Really unfortunate in Kenneth's case here. You got to feel bad when you see that kind of stuff, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, maybe... Yep. Richard just pressing the attack, so looks like, unfortunately, Kenneth does not have too much going on. Maybe depending on his next top deck, maybe a concession into game 2 is in order. Definitely.
So
Oh,
let's
there's
see.
Belly Bolt. Finally.
Finally.
You can swing for 220.
Okay, so...
So he gets 4.
So you can... Yeah, so that's superior energy retrieval.
He'll swing 4.
Okay.
The problem is now, if he does KO the Rotom, he doesn't have a boss.
Yeah,
And that means that he can immediately respond back with the Raging Bolt for game.
Yep.
So, but at least Kenneth can take a knockout and go down to 3. That is something you were able to get somewhere into the deck. Just looks like too little. Unfortunately, too little, too late for the Belly Bolt attack. I think he just has to attack.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting,
okay.
too...
So maybe we do just retreat with the Belly Bolt, because the Belly Bolt...
He gets 2 retreat?
Can the Belly Bolt not retreat? Oh, okay, so maybe Anthony's giving him a little bit... Oh, hold on, something happened there. Oh, yeah, no, okay. Yeah, looks like, unfortunately, we had a little bit of a misattach there. We retreat 2 into the Voltorb and attack with a 1-prizer. So now all Richard needs is potentially a Gust to win the game here. But
again, 2
Kenneth
energy.
goes down to 3.
Yep, 2 energy. We have that lightning type weakness, so Fan Rotom does end up taking, getting knocked out here. Down to 2 to 3. Obviously, Teal Mask Orgapon going to the active. Richard taking potentially another prize card here. Obviously, going to flip the script.
Draw 3. Now all we need is the boss. Come on, get us there. Let's see if we can get a boss KO for game here. Knocked up. There it is. There's the knocked out.
There's our boss's orders. So we'll see Richard probably grabbing Prime Catcher. Yep, there it is. That's game.
And that's game. Prime Catcher.
Right.
Stun on him a little bit. Oh, no. Prime Catcher and the boss. Boss is up. The Belly Bolt. And that is game 1 going to Richard. Yeah, didn't really get much going with Belly Bolt.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man.
Because if you can't get Kilowattrel going, then you have no consistency. If you have no consistency in your deck, then your deck's not going to function. You're not going to be able to get to your attackers. And in this case, we did not see Belly Bolt until the end of the game.
Yeah, and one of the big things, that we see with that Iono's Belly Bolt is the really high amount of energy in that deck. Some decks running 14 or 15, lightning energy in the deck. So the chances of you hitting a card that you actually need are low.
That's what we saw. Iono into like 3 or 4 energy. Iono again. 3 or 4 energy. Iono again, 3 or 4 energy. So, maybe, hopefully we can see a little bit of better attackers earlier on. That would be something that we'd very much like to see in that match, because there's definitely a point where you could swing with a 1-prizer for a big number into some 2-prizers that Richard has on the board. So, let's see what happens in terms of game 2. Hopefully we can see that. We have the reshuffle going on here. We have 30 minutes left in the round. Hopefully we shall see who ends up taking it here. I believe Kenneth did get to opt. I do not know if he opted first or second, but I would see with a Belly Bolt deck, if you want to evolve, you'd want to opt first. Okay, Kenneth is opting second. So Richard is, I assume then he would have some sort of supporter, Arvin, Evo, something like that, in order to follow, follow up on the next turn. So let's see what happens. We are going to game number 2.
All right, prize cards out. We are ready for our basics. Let's see what we got going here. All righty, here we go. Teal Mask Orcapon start. Richard going first. Did see the grass energy in hand.
Fez as well. So we're going to Teal Dance first, see what we get first. Some never really hurts to draw cards first, sometimes because it might inform your next decision if you draw a card you need. I did see a Nest Ball there, so I think he does have 2 Nest Balls. So I think you grab Fan Rotom here, potentially. Maybe either grab a Raging Bolt, grab something to start off with, or just go straight to Fan Rotom and start to get your Owls on the board. Looks like he's prize checking a little bit. Just want to make sure that he knows what's there and what's not in terms of his attackers. I don't see a Fan Rotom.
I think I saw 1.
Does he only play 1?
I potentially saw 1.
Oh, no, there it is. Okay.
Okay, so we did see the Noctows and the Hoothoots in
felt
deck.
a little scared there for a second.
All right. So we have the Fan Rotom. We're probably going to commit to a Fan Call here.
Second Nest Ball. So I assume he grabs a Raging Bull here because he does already have a Teal Mask Ogerpon in play. That does give him the ability to retreat next turn. And now we've got Fan Rotoms. Okay, so he must have more energy in hand. So that's fine. 2 Terras in play. We'll see what Richard
our
grabs.
Fan Call. Yep.
The board is loaded. The setup is setuping. We are going
Kenneth does have 2 Nest Balls in hand, though, so let's see. And is going second, so with an Iono in hand. So it is possible that Kenneth might see that Iono's Belly Bolt.
Now, Iono's pretty good here because a lot of the time, Noctowl decks on their turn 1, they will typically, with Fan Rotom, go Hoot Hoot, Hoot Hoot, Noctowl. So, because if they do that, then they can immediately evolve into Noctowl, potentially get more Noctowls, and chain the board state into a position where you're really far ahead on your opening turns. Kenneth, because he has Iono, is now saying you can't have that Noctowl guaranteed anymore. You have to try to draw into it off of your deck. And though that chance may be pretty high, it's a heck of a lot better than guaranteed.
Absolutely.
So we shall see.
Richard setting up that Fan Rotom, kind of similar game plan than.
And there is the pass.
All right, so Kenneth does need to draw first card for turn. There we go. We got
double Nest Ball and an Iono. Okay, so that seems to be the game plan right now. That is what's going to happen. I'm going to real quick check the progress of the game 3 here.
For Atlanta?
Yes.
Gotcha. What's going on there?
Looking pretty rough for Sebastian Lashmet. Tanner Hurley is up, or it's 1-1. With Lashmet having a very rough board state.
Oof.
Looks like Tanner might actually run away with this game. He is playing some stuff. All right.
Kenneth taking those 2 Nest Balls. So back to our game here. Kenneth taking those 2 Nest Balls. 1 for a Timpole here, and then a Voltorb. So, let's see. I believe it's not Timpole. I'm sorry. It's I believe it's pronounced Talbulb.
Oh, right. Is Timpole the it evolves into
Electros.
No. Yes, you're right. Actually, I am
yeah, I think
big
it's
dumb. I apologize.
Talbulb.
Tadbulb. You are right. It is Tadbulb. I apologize.
Yeah, there's our Iono. All right, so let's see if
the Iono chain begins again once more. 6 cards to the bottom of the hand to the bottom of the deck. Draw 6. Your opponent also draws 6 because they have 6 prize cards too. New hand.
Oh, I see a Belly Bolt.
Okay, so next turn, we finally got it set up here. Tadbulb's still looking okay. Maybe there's a world where we bench the Voltorb so we have a big enough spot. Oh, okay, good. Bench and the Buddy Poffin. So let's see what we get. I can definitely see maybe try and get our draw engine set up. Maybe grab the 2 Wattrells. Either a Tadbulb and a Wattrell or just 2 Wattrells. I think 2 Wattrells. We've opted to go with the Tadbulbs just in case Richard does get the double setup and is able to KO more than one Belly Bolt. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Okay, an instant pass from Kenneth. We know that he has the Iono's Belly Bolt in hand, so we'll have to see what's going on. Richard has a Raging Bolt.
Hoodoots have been in play this turn, so a Noctowl can be used.
We can grab a Stadium here.
And here we go. So this is kind of, obviously showcasing the power of having those Noctowls and this new generation of Raging Bolt, because obviously you're able to, since you already have such a high, ability to keep your bench spots open, and since you use 3 Teal Mask Orgapon as it is, makes it searching for those cards that you need really, really easy. And it looks like that's what's going to be the case here for Richard. So searching their deck one more time, trying to find those cards that they need.
Yes.
1 Earthen Vessel. Potentially a Crispin or Area 0. So it's looking like it might be an Area 0 and a Earthen Vessel, but we'll see what Richard ends up selecting final. While we're kind of waiting for their players to make a decision, do not forget, we're here over at the Hilton on Route 110 in Melville. Come and get your cards. We got a whole bunch of different stands out here, and a whole bunch of nice people.
Yeah, coming to you from the Long Island TCG show in Melville, Long Island, just like my wonderful co-caster has just said.
He called me wonderful.
That's first.
I earned that title. What you mean? No, but it looks like we're going to be getting, so Earthen Vessel, obviously, going to be going for more of those energy cards. Yep, so there's our Lightning and our Fighting Energy, potentially get the Raging Bolt set up here.
Yeah, I mean, likely Richard wants to just, that last card that unfortunately the glare is a little bit too much right now, that is going to be a Fan Rotom, we want to be attacking ideally 1-for-1 into the Fan Rotom so that Kenneth has to produce some sort of threat to answer it every single turn. As long as that happens, excuse me, and Kenneth does not get any 2-prize knockouts after that, then Richard always has initiative to win the game if they trade 1-for-1 every time.
So Richard kind of seeing that without a Belly Bolt or a Kilowattrel, he is in a pretty dominant position here. So just straight up giving up the electric energy here for a second Knockdown, searching for 2 more trainer cards here. So
Wonder what the play is here.
Yeah. One Night Stretcher was given up. That's a key card, so...
Oh, there's the Stadium.
Yep.
Maybe Stadium Nest Ball for Latios. Maybe retreat off the Latios so that you can conserve your energy and then swing. Potential.
Yeah, I think Richard's really going to try to, you know, continue to hold on to that single prize knockout game plan here. It looks like that's going to be the standard of play, but let's see what they choose. You can see that Iono's Belly Bolt in Kenneth's hand there. So we do know it's there.
Yep. Just going to adjust my headset real quick.
Yep, and then that is Area 0, Under Depths, as well as another Earthen Vessel. So we're looking for more energy, more ways to attack, and more cards here.
Yep.
Looking like a Nest Ball. Baby Raging Bolt. So now this Baby Raging Bolt is actually not something that we've seen up until recently in Japan. It was actually run in the most recent Japan City League, and that first attack is really what it's being used for. You know, basically it's 2 energy, and I believe it's 20 times the number of energy you have in play, right?
It's attached to the Raging Bolt itself.
Oh,
but
okay,
it is a snipe, so you can it can have a target. You can target one of your opponent's Pokemon in play. So maybe with that Raging Bolt later on, you can use it to KO maybe a Wattrel that hasn't fully evolved in this case, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
so.
and it being a basic non-EX Pokemon, it would also be able to go through, what is it? The Farigiraf, the wall, the EX wall, and Mimikyu as well.
It does go through both. You'd have to attack twice with it because Cornerstone, you know, hits for 140, which that thing only has 130. So it requires a lot of setup. But in this matchup, not as relevant. Got the Sada. Maybe I do think that attacking with the Rotom is probably the most likely course of action here. But we'll have to see what exactly he does.
Yep. Definitely another Teal Dance here. Gonna have to try and see what Richard decides to attack with. Obviously, only single prize Pokemon in play on Kenneth's side of the board here, which leaves Richard in a pretty okay spot.
I guess Richard recognizing that Kenneth's Voltorbs can always knock out the Fan Rotoms. Prime Catcher. Okay, so we are just attacking with the Fan Rotom outright.
Probably getting the Wattrel.
No.
Oh, no, Voltorb with an energy. Okay.
The reason for that being is that you're removing any energy that's on the board previously. So Kenneth, in order to respond, has to attach more energy in order to attack with another Voltorb. And since he only has 2, he has to provide the one that's already on the bench. So this does put Richard in a position where he can, pretty consistently remove Kenneth's attackers before Kenneth can really get them going. So we'll have to see.
All right, and there's our Nest Ball for a Pheasantipity.
Yep.
So when the return knockout is taken, another 3 cards are able to be grabbed here. Okay, Prime Catcher is resolved.
And there's our attack. First attack of the game.
Okay, so now Kenneth can kind of get started here. Another Iono in hand. A Belly Bolt able to be played.
Promoting? Okay. Interesting.
So there's a Belly Bolt.
Oh, okay. So a little bit of an order thing there, but that's fine. We've got 1 on the attach.
That's a boss's orders and 2 copies of Iono, so
fine. But the problem is, so I think our Judge Anthony told Kenneth, because Kenneth is a fairly new player, seems like, which is okay. He just wants to make sure that you draw for turn before you do anything else, unless it seems like there's some sort of discussion happening right now. And there's the Iono. Okay.
Okay.
Once again, we're Ionoing.
I mean, the deck is Iono. It is Iono's deck. There are Ionos
Iono's
in
deck is playing Iono.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are Ionoing from Iono's deck against an opponent that also has Ionos in their deck. Or maybe an Iono, potentially.
Okay, so now here
there's
we're
Laventia
finally
Stadium.
seeing that. Yes, we're finally seeing that Laventia. So there is lightning energy in that discard pile.
Richard has to discard his bench. Since his bench is no longer 8, it is 5. Before Kenneth does anything else, Richard has to discard down to 5, which he has done.
Yep.
So now we're back to, since he uses both his Noctowls, it doesn't really matter what he does at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He does have 6 on the bench. He's got to choose one more to discard before anything else happens. Yeah, maybe recognizing that he does want to keep the single prize Raging Bolt because it's a good attack. He does discard that.
Okay.
We are retreating into the Belly Bolt, potentially. Oh, into the Voltorb. And then we're getting it back from the Lavantia to attach to the Voltorb.
Yep, the energy are coming back.
So he just got, okay, Anthony indicating to Kenneth that he just needs to proc the Stadium first.
Yep.
Now,
these are 2 energy.
Voltorb can attack and KO the Fan Rotom.
Yep, obviously that Belly Bolt, we kind of talked about this a little bit before. You know, you may attach any number of energy from your discard, any number of energy from your hand.
Yep.
To your Iono's Pokemon in any way that you like. So that is an infinite number of energy acceleration as long as you have it in hand, and then probably going to be able to attack into that Fan Rotom there.
Richard, there's an attack off of that. Richard, recognizing that we are kind of running out of time a little bit. It is currently 16 minutes left in their round. Kenneth is down 0-1, so if Richard does win this game too, he wins the set. If the game goes to time and Richard is still 1-0, he wins the set. But if Kenneth wins the game and they have no chance to make a game 3, then they will natural tie, which in this situation at this stage of the tournament, probably not a good idea. So let's see what Kenneth can pull out here. We want... Ideally, we want to take 2. If we take 2, go up to 3, we are in a good position to move forward with the deck. However, we do not have it. So Richard will probably take his next prize card with the Raging Bolt inactive. We have the Sada attached to the Raging Bolt. We will probably gust the next turn because we already have 2 energies on the Raging Bolt. If Kenneth plays Iono again, there's a chance that Richard will draw into that boss's orders, but we'll see what he can get.
Richard's deck is pretty thin here, so there is a higher chance for him to find cards that he actually needs as opposed to cards that he doesn't. And we've also got some grass energy still around, so potentially to slam onto the Teal Mask. But Ultra Ball being used here to get rid of that Fan Rotom as well as another card. Let's see what Richard ends up deciding to go with.
Maybe second Ultra Ball. Probably second Ultra Ball there. I don't think he really needs to search any more than one Pokemon that he'll probably need for the rest of the game. Maybe potentially another attacker or something along those lines. Maybe another Raging Bolt. Maybe his third Teal Mask Ogerpon. Unless he discarded the one earlier, if I am not mistaken. So probably just another Raging Bolt.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you nailed it.
Yeah, so Richard is anticipating that his attackers for the rest of the game are going to be this Raging Bolt, or this baby Raging Bolt, and then Raging Bolt, and then Raging Bolt again. Maybe Ogerpon if he's feeling a little different about everything, but we'll have to see what goes on now.
Again, as you noted before, we're running out of time here. Only 15 minutes left in the round, so pace of play is definitely something that I'm sure both players are kind of being cognizant about here, because if in some way we do go to a game 3, there will not be a lot of time for it. So, okay, so Jamming Tower, so Laventia comes out. So now Kenneth can no longer grab those lightning energy from...
Tool cards no longer in the picture either.
Yep. Richard needing a lightning energy here to attack. No Latias in play yet, so no free retreat cost. Richard trying to decide if they want to knock out that Iono's Belly Bolt. Sada was used already, though, so no boss's orders available.
True.
So this is going to be retreat, potentially? No, they can't even retreat, actually. The Raging Bolt has 3 retreat cost.
Yes, so, I mean, we will need to produce a lightning energy here. We did attach the grass from the Sada.
Okay, so severe energy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about getting rid of the Crispin there. I mean, you do want to keep priority on your one prizers. Kenneth will likely have another launcher to bump your stadium, so if you have another stadium to provide against that, you can, but only the grass. So we have no lightning in play. We're going to attach, retreat, swing with the big guy, and then hope that Kenneth does not have a response. I mean, it's going to be tough because the max that the Belly Bolt can swing for is 200, or 220, I believe it is. It's a 4 lightning 220. So he'll swing with the Raging Bolt. If Kenneth cannot swing for 240, then Richard will be able to attack again, go down to 2 prize cards, and then that's cooked.
So definitely giving up one of those grass energy for the Raging Bolt here.
Richard going down to 4.
Kenneth has to really decide what they want to throw up here.
It would be another Voltorb. We really don't want to initiate a prize trade situation because if that happens, then Richard is likely going to win this game based on just prize trade alone.
What's really interesting too is we have not seen any of that Watch Roll, and I haven't seen an Ultra Ball yet, which I would think would be probably kind of important for this deck. So I'm interested to see if Kenneth has. So there's our. So that's 3 energy from the Superior Energy Retrieval. All can be charged now thanks to the Belly Bolt, obviously.
Yep. So how much damage can we do realistically at this point?
So it's 2, 4, 6. So it's 20 per. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8. 80 damage currently.
That is correct.
And then Professor's Research.
Okay, so we're going to research the hand away, see if we can get some more energies to attach.
Yeah, so
maybe
a little interaction here that's kind of important to note about that Watch Roll. The Killer Watch Roll has to have the energy on it in order to use that effect, by the way. It's not an energy that needs to be, it's not an energy that's discarded from hand. It's actually an energy that has to be on the Killer Watch Roll. So that's kind of important here. All right, so we have 4 energy, 5, 6, 7 energy in play currently, so we're at 140. Let's see what Kenny decides to do here. We know that Kenneth is going to try to get rid of at least 1 energy here off of the Kilowatts roll for the effect, so to draw those 6 cards. Richard looking through his discard pile, trying to verify how many energy that he has available at the moment.
Yep, true.
Okay, so we used our stadium, or we used our supporter already. So Kenneth trying to make a decision. Might be that Kilowatt roll effect. Yep, there we go. So we're going to draw those 4 cards off of the effect.
Because if he does draw more energy, then it's going to look pretty good.
So that it did pay off. Another
Second
belly bolt.
So now we've got our setups going. E-Gen.
So now Kenny's going deep here.
We have a high roll. We have a potential high roll opportunity. Oh, another 2.
Oh, 2. Okay, so that's 20.
That's
another
energy.
40
That's
damage.
Energy. Maybe attach the Voltorb here so that we have a backup attacker.
Yep. So this is the kind of situation that we like to see with Iona's Belly Bolt. You know, you want to get as many energy, around as you potentially can here. So it looks like Kenny's getting really set up.
8. So we've got 8 energy on the board. That is a flat 160. So with a Gust, we have enough to KO the Raging Bolt, but still not enough to KO a big Raging Bolt EX. We would need more than 160 to do that. He does have energy in hand, does have a boss, but he did play the research earlier in the turn. So now we're at 180, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're at 180.
Six, 7, 8, 9. Yep. And here's like the most important thing that we kind of see here. Again, normally we wouldn't. Okay, so he just went for the swing, went for the 180 swing. The thing is with these Voltorbs, right? Normally you would think that 180 damage isn't really a good number to hit, obviously. But since Voltorb is a single prize attacker, it's relatively efficient for what it needs to do. It's just the problem is obviously the amount of energy that has to go into play for something like this is staggering. I mean, there's 9 energy in play at this case, which kind of makes it a little bit more difficult, for Kenneth is when a knockout is taken, those energies go back into the discard pile, and it makes it a little bit difficult to land consecutive attacks. But Richard kind of going through the motions here. back to the regular, regular grind when it comes to Raging Bolt. Slitherwing going down there. Again, going for that fighting type weakness.
So in this case, I think Richard does definitely have a very commanding position of the board.
Absolutely.
He can take 1 prize knockouts. If he does get a gust, he can take the 2 prize knockout pretty easily, and I think that's what he's drawing for right now. He can also swing with the Baby Raging Bolt to continue to trade 1 for 1 until the game ends. So with that setup, he definitely has a lot of options.
Our good friend David Headland walking past the bench here.
Making sure that everything is A-OK for the gang at hand.
What a guy. He truly is a class act, man. All right, back to our game here. Richard again going through their discard pile, kind of looking through the cards that are available for Sadas later down the line. Palpad going through, probably for 2 copies of Sadas and back again. Jamming Tower still down, so no tool cards. Just under 7 minutes left in round. And we're going to go for the 70 damage here. Yep. Richard down to 2 prize cards.
So
definitely a rough situation for Kenneth here.
Kenneth can respond. He can respond with the Voltorb, so he'll take 2. He'll go down to 3. Richard can go down to 2 if Kenneth can respond with a big knockout on the Teal Mask Ogrepon with a Gust. Retreating into the Belly Bolt, potentially swinging with the Belly Bolt here.
Okay, so boss
so we do see the Gust on the Pheasantipity. That's a good play. We're restricting Richard's draw option. Kenneth will go down to 3, and now we are initiating a 2 for 2 prize trade. Likely, Richard would probably want to put up his 1 prizer to attack with, or just sack the 2 prizer in order to have an out to swing. There's the Sada. We go main attach, Sada for the 2nd fighting if it is still in the discard pile. And now we're in a position where we can potentially set up checkmate because Kenneth, he'll swing for 2, go down to 1. Kenneth will swing for 2, go down to 3, and then, well, actually no, because Kenneth did get the 2 prize knockout on the Pheasantipity.
How's boss's orders off of that Pheasantipity there? So that was Nitro to Pheasantipity for 3 cards, and the Absolute. Okay, so
Kenneth does have 3 prize cards left.
Yeah. So
Richard has 1. So if we want to just have the graphic reflect that, appreciate
Yeah, there we go.
So Kenneth needs to respond with an Iono, an attack, a stadium, and a 1 prizer, all in that order. He does have the Iono, but he needs an attach.
Says the Belly Bolt.
So I think what needs to happen here
we do have a card in, on the Kilowatt Roll, so we can discard here in order to draw an extra 3 cards just to start the drawing process. I don't know if that's what Kenny's going to decide to do here. No, going straight for the research.
Okay, so that's a problem now. Unfortunately, the problem is that he's not disrupting Richard, and now Richard does guaranteed have an attack off to win the game next turn.
Oh my goodness, look at
all those energies. Oh
that would have been a great hand a turn ago.
Yes, it would have been. So what has to happen now is that Richard needs to essentially just attack and hope that, or Kenneth needs to attack and hope that Richard does not have a response.
Yep.
That is all that needs to happen here. If Richard does have any response of any kind, then Richard will win the game on the spot, and that will be game 2.
It's looking like 4 minutes left in round. So the Iono's Belly Bolt. Ooh, wait, hold on. I see what's happening here. So the Iono's Belly Bolt doesn't get knocked out by the turbulence, burning turbulence. So
does it not?
So Kenneth
it's
might
240
place
plus burn, which is 260. Belly Bolt is what, 280?
280.
So that could be. So if he does get to attack with the Belly Bolt, then that is enough. The problem being, you would probably discard the card off of the kill. Oh nope, he just
went for
chooses to attack.
Yeah,
so now it is entirely up to Richard to finish the game on this 1
yep,
attack.
So that's that, and then we're looking for the 1 fighting energy.
He's looking for it.
Yep,
he
so
does
there's
see
the
it
fighting.
there.
Do
he
we have
does see it there. He
Asadas?
sees the lightning. All he needs is Asadas in order to attack him with the game.
There it is.
And
Okay,
there's
he's
Asadas,
got it.
and that's it.
All right,
Okay.
so that is our game 2. So it
Richard
looks like Richard's
taking
got
a
it.
2-0 set. That is the set going to Richard.
All righty, congrats, Richard. That was a good little victory there.
Yeah.
So, and this is the thing about that Raging Bolt. Excuse me. There's
works.
a lot of Well, yes, obviously the deck works, but there's a lot of Pokemon in the meta right now that take that fighting type weakness. So a big, important card, the Koraidon that we saw for David Headland, and of course the Slitherwing that we see now are both two very, very, very important cards, that help kind of tip the matchup in Raging Bolt's favor. But not too great from that Iono's Belly Bolt, unfortunately. We didn't really see too much.
Yeah, I mean, the Kilowattrel definitely gets in there. There are definitely, maybe some sequencing things that we could probably pick up on, but Kenneth definitely seems like a newer player. Definitely take that one to the chin, move on a little bit. Definitely played that pretty well towards the end there. So
yeah, absolutely.
Props to him. His first stream match.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen,
nice little bit of tension on the line there. But no, good on them. They definitely stuck it out and definitely had a good shot at winning that game too. So props to them. Hopefully they'll be able to come back and play more tournaments in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have to check with production to see if we can get an interview. If not, that is A-okay. We can definitely take a break and move on to the next one. Okay, yeah, all good either way. We have our
yep. So a lot of Raging Bolt today. We haven't seen any of that Dragon
Long Island likes its Raging Bolt.
Hey, listen,
mainly
it's
because
easy,
it is very strong in a Raging Bolt.
It works, yeah.
Here, let me just double check and see where we are
so,
at.
Yeah, tell us what's going on in Atlanta. We got a whole lot of that.
Okay, confirm that we do not have an interview. I will check in. I am checking in at Atlanta. If you want to know, our top 4 is currently Henry Chow versus Ceres Jones. So it is Dragon Ball Dusknoir versus Long Island's own Henry Chow on Gardevoir. He is in top 4. Lashmet did lose in top 8. So we have a Purepult in top 4 as well as 2 Dragapult Dusknoirs. So this might be a pretty interesting set. We've got 70 minutes in the game. Henry is 0-0. So we'll have to see what exactly is going on there. A lot of good decks in top 8 there. We do see, kind of going into the meta of this room, Dusknoir Dragapult does seem to be the deck to beat. Raging Bolt does seem to be the deck to do that. So, definitely not a bad deck to play in this round. Any other closing thoughts about the deck or anything? We've already seen it twice, so not much else to talk about it in that
it's
regard.
like the only, listen, again, we already talked about it before. The only 2 changes that we saw was the Slitherwing versus the Koraidon.
True.
The Koraidon obviously hits for more and can hit into the Tank Terapagos list, where the Burning Turbulence, Slitherwing typically can't.
True.
Can't reach those damage values, but it does require that extra Ancient Pokemon attack. So at least for right now, it's kind of a trade-off there. So, but, both players played very well. We're going to move on to the next round.
Okay. So for now, get a nice little, this is your 5-minute warning.
Hydrate.
Hydrate. You better hydrate. Get comfortable, get a nice little drink. We will be back in a couple minutes with our final round of Swiss, and then straight from that into our top cut. So
absolutely.
Don't go anywhere.
Yep. Hey.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome back to the Long Island TCG Show Tournament Series. Melville, Long Island. Once
Freshly
again,
rested.
Freshly rested and hydrated, as I did promise that if you did not hydrate, I would hurt you. So, be hydrated, please.
The bottle is getting lower.
Very
I
true.
mean,
very true. Welcome. Welcome back. We are at the Long Island TCG Show one more time. It is the Battle Bros, Nicholas and Andrew Uterano casting. We've got David Headland versus John Conity with an N instead of an M. It is pure Dragapult, as far as I'm aware, versus Raging Bolt, as we saw earlier. John seems to be the only undefeated in the tournament, 2-0 versus David being 1-1. We will have to see what happens here. John going first does get to play the Klefki.
Very important card here in this matchup. So for those at home who don't know, Klefki, if it's in the active, all basic Pokemon in play do not have abilities. That is a very important card to have in this matchup, especially against Fan Call Rotom.
So what I assume is that David won the coin flip and chose second, like he did last time, blind. Now John has an option. That is tough.
Yeah, that is really tough for David because now Fan Call can't activate at all, and neither can the Teal Masks for that matter. This is a very, very, very important card to win this matchup. One of the key things about Dragapult that also is really important is for any kind of ability lock, so Iron Thorns, Flutter, not Flutterwing.
Fluttermane?
Or Fluttermane, thank you. Fluttermane, other Klefki, Monkey Dory, none of those effects can activate while that Klefki is in that
well,
active
if
spot.
the Klefki is the first to hit, right?
Right.
The idea being is that if Fluttermane does go into the active after, then, there's sequencing and order attached to it. But in the case of David, David is now thinking he cannot get a setup. He can't do pretty much anything this turn. That is a huge card for John to play. So we'll have to see what David grabs.
And what's great about
here.
that Dragapult, the Dragapult in here too.
They all have abilities.
Those Dracloaks are evolved Pokemon, so they aren't affected by Klefki. So John actually loses nothing by evolving into Dracloak, and then eventually, obviously, into our good old funny spicy Jet Dragon here, into Dragapult. So we'll see what David does. This is definitely tough. It might just have to be attach, retreat into, attach, retreat into Burst Roar. Burst Roar might be the only way that David might be able to draw some cards here. I mean, that hand is energy galore.
That is a brutal hand. Thankfully, Dragapult is a slower deck. We'll have to see what exactly we can actually get done here, because I think David's thought process is like, let me find Pokemon that don't have abilities, because right now I got to do something. I think David's going to be in attached pass land for a little while. John's going to be able to get a setup almost guaranteed here in this regard, and then continue to move on. So let's just see what he does. I mean, do you really think there's anything that David can do in his opening 2-3 turns?
I mean, I had the baby Raging Bolt.
These are a little guy. There's him. Saw in both games of Raging Bolt.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, Klefki is such a powerful card for decks that are just all basic Pokemon. What David has to do here is David has to get a boss's orders and take that Klefki out of the active slot.
Yeah, either that or just get the Sada retreat attached. But you cannot retreat without attaching, so it looks like we're just going to be potentially attached passing, which is not what David
Couldn't David also
wanted.
attack here?
You need a stadium. You need a stadium.
Let's see.
Because that would be the logical response, right? Is that like Fan Rotom attach, stadium attack.
Yeah.
But I did not see any stadiums in the opening hand, so I think it's probably just attached to the Raging Bolt and then pass over.
Yeah, pass.
There you go.
Yep,
All
there
right.
we go.
So, John, now having access to cards on cards on cards, we have a pure Dracloak. Oh, that is a clear-cut decision there. Arvin on the board this turn. Now we have a setup. Because now, basically, John Conity can... basically, he gets control over how the game gets to go. Ooh, Evo into double Dracloak. See, now there's an option. There's the TM Evolution.
Yep.
So here's what's going to happen. John is going to get, since we do not play the Dusknoir line in this version of the deck. This is pure Pult, as far as I'm aware. Monkey Dory would indicate that.
John's a part of your testing group, right?
That is, but I'd rather, you know, we're talking about this deck in general, not our version of the deck entirely.
You did say our. Just saying.
Anywho.
Don't mind us. We're just riffing at each other here. But it does look like that TM Evolution is going to be coming out here into both of those Dreepies. So now we've got 2 Dracloaks in play. John can now go through 6 cards a turn. So that is a lot of draw power for Dragapult to have.
That is true. So yeah, because the thing is that the idea behind this is that John wants to slow down the game enough where he can get a board. If he can get a board set up that David can't really do anything to, then John will win, just based on prize trading alone. He does get the retreat. Now we just have to worry about energy attachments because John has now used both of his energy attachments across both turns to both things that aren't Dragapult, or things that aren't lines that become Dragapults. So John will likely have to either Crispin to get an attack off next turn or just try to main attach over another set of turns. David likely, now that 3 Dracloaks are staring him down, David would probably just attach and then pass. Or if he has a supporter, he has to play it. Wow, pass. Yeah, there is not much going on now.
That is a rough start for David here.
Now we are Flower Select Lighting. It's Recon Directive. Draw 2 off the top. Choose 1. Other goes to the bottom. Like ye old airmail of old. All right. Draw more. So we've got a fire. Oh. Okay, so now we've got a choice. We do have the energy attaches.
Unfair Stamp in hand.
Unfair Stamp in hand. So basically, John...
No Crispin.
No Crispin, but no Crispin needed. Because I think what we can do probably here is just attach and get our energy attaches. And then if David does Iono and John shuffles the deck, then what else can you do? Right now, we Joust.
Yep, Joust for 10.
That
Okay.
10 damage matters. Tell me why.
6 damage counters, baby, on that Dragapult.
So if John's first attack is a Gust and can KO the Raging Bolt, now we're in a position where John can take 2 and remove all of David's attackers on the board. That way, David has no responses for the next 2 turns. Probably, if that, even.
So let's see what David decides to do. Manually attach grass for manual retreat.
So we are removing potentially, so we do have, what is it, is it 30 times or 60 times?
So hoot. Pass.
No, it is 60 damage. It's
oh
not
my
enough
goodness, wow.
Because he only has the 2 energy. Yeah, there is not much else going on right now on this board state. So
ooh, this is brutal for
So this
David.
is what we're going to see. Yeah, they're discussing the damage. They're discussing the damage amount. It is 60. John draws.
Another Arvin.
Now, let's see what we can draw. Countercatcher Crispin. So Crispin's good, but Countercatcher we don't really need because John is not behind in prize cards yet. We want to see the boss for sure. Dark Energy for the Monkey Dory, so we have that as an option. I would have liked to see the rare candy there because maybe potentially you could Crispin.
Yeah.
You could Crispin and then put the Dark on the Monkey Dory this turn.
But definitely looking to get a Dragapult in play here.
Shock, maybe double Dragapult. I don't know. I mean, thinning cards from the deck is good. I don't know if we want to, excuse me, I apologize. We want to get more than 1 Dragapult this turn.
I guess John is like very comfortable with his hand that he currently has.
Yes.
And because of that, he kind of feels comfortable just saying, okay, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to get these Dragapults in play. And David can't, with Asadas, potentially David could start threatening Dragapults or Dracloaks on
Very
the bench.
Yep.
So in this case,
so here's what
David,
it's going to be.
John is just going for it at this point.
Yep.
It's looking like it's going to be, yep, so that is 2 prize cards taken
right off the
John.
bat. So now it has to happen. Hopefully John does, hopefully David has some sort of response.
By the way, just for our production team.
You can't search. Oh, no.
John's.
David, no. You have to have a Terra Pokemon in play in order to evolve.
No. I think
Attach triple stab. Attach triple stab.
Oh, David, no.
Attach triple stab. I mean, you have to. I mean, maybe there's even a world where you have to evolve into the Noctowl so that you don't immediately die this turn to a Gust.
Yeah.
Gust, because what happens is if Gust Halucha does win John the game on the spot.
Yeah,
game
David
2.
Gave it up.
Yeah, that is a definitely smart move with 40 minutes left in the round.
Yeah,
John
absolutely.
getting the nice quick game 1 with a Klefki. Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's how it goes, man.
Low chance to start it. I mean, if David takes second all the time, that does give John the chance to open and get to a Klefki on turn 1 going first. If that happens, doom. You cannot get anything done as Raging Bolt, and that is really tough to get out of unless you have a spec to deal with. So right now, looks a little grim, but hopefully, what we want to see from David is hopefully that John does not get the guaranteed. If David does choose second, and hopefully that John does not have the ability to get Klefki into the active again, because if he does, this is going to be a pretty quick game too. We're going to have to see what happens. So they are setting up right now.
So
I will double check with our Atlanta regional standings right now.
Yep. Real quick, just for our production team, John, his last name is Conaty, so
With an
Conaty.
N as in Nancy.
N as in Nancy. So I just wanted to see if we could get that changed up super quick there. Otherwise,
Henry Chow is the stream game in top 4. He is 0-1 against Saris Jones.
Saris Jones playing Dragapult?
Saris Jones is playing Dragapult. Not sure if Pure Pult or Dusknoir Pult yet. I did not see that. Let me just check and see if there was any indication. No, it is Pure Pult. Pure Pult is there at that point. All right, started our game 2. We'll keep on that, and we will let you know going forward. So.
All right, so that was that Koraidon again into that active slot. I didn't see what John...
John has a rescue board, so if he does have a search option, he can get to the Klefki again, and that could be very dangerous.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what John does.
I did not see the starter.
Dreepy.
Okay, Dreepy starter, and he chose to go first. We've got Bear. We've got no search options, so now we've got a problem.
Okay.
So this
There's
is
an Iono.
Pass. Okay, so David gets to play the game. This is what we want to see. No way to get to Klefki. David's got a way to get to Fan Rotom.
I did see Asadas.
I
did see Asadas in there, so David does have a way to get started.
Problem is that he has to get a Latios on the board. He has to
Yeah.
get Fan Rotom. Ideally, what I want to see from David here is Fan Rotom, get down Latios.
Do you think it's actually?
Swing.
I don't know. Do you think it could be a Raging Bolt here?
No.
Because then you discard 2 energy with the Ultra Ball, you drop a Raging Bolt, and then Sadas, and then you get 3 more cards. You get more cards that way than you do.
You can, but the problem is that you'd have to potentially use a Prime Catcher to get to the other, to get it switched into the active.
Right.
So maybe what might be best here. Okay, so David is opting for the 2 Prizer option, maybe not really seeing that you can attack for 70. I think he does have the Stadium in hand, so I would have liked to see maybe a swing with the Fan Rotom into the...
Oh, I didn't see the Stadium. That's why I didn't see the...
at least I think I saw the Stadium in hand. Oh.
Whoa, he chose to pass there?
No, I think it was just an opt to allow to cut.
Okay, there you go.
Okay,
All right, so there's our Sadas.
There's our Sadas.
Crispin, Grass Energy.
Noctowl.
Noctowl, okay.
So
what do we do?
Do we have any ball search?
Oh, yeah, look, there it is. There's the...
That is the Stadium. So we do not have any ball search here. We do not have any way to attack this turn, nor do we have any other way to do anything else.
He can do 30 damage. Or 20
Not
damage.
even.
Yeah, he can do 20 damage.
Well, he can attack and it's 30. He can attack and deal 30. But against Dragapult, that doesn't really matter too much, right? It goes to 290. You need 280 on the 4 swing. So maybe...
Okay, so there's our pass.
Just a pass. Okay. John pretty much has to evolve into Dracloak, see what we can get.
There we go. Assault Vest, Psychic Energy.
Energy attach doesn't really help us here unless he attaches the rescue board that he has in hand. So maybe he goes attach Psychic, rescue board, Iono. Problem is that it does... You could also maybe...
Gives David cards, right?
It does give David cards. He hasn't really shown that he has too much right now. However... Okay, so he's going to hit for 10 with Petty Grudge. Unless he passed off of that, I'm not sure. Yeah, because I guess technically the most that David can do is knock out the Dreepy. If he does get Gus Dreepy, it is interesting. A little bit of discussion with the production team. Not sure exactly what's going on there, but... Oh, he passed and did not attack with the... Yeah, so I guess for the not 10 damage. Let's see what David does.
So now, depending on what David gets here...
Crispin swing.
Okay.
Okay, so we are guaranteeing that we get a 1 prize knockout. John doesn't exactly have too much of a board here. I think what John is anticipating is that David takes a 1 prize knockout and then maybe just stamps him into nothing and then continues to set up his board from where he is at that point. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, because this is going to be... Yep. So this is going to be the manually attached to the... Raging Bolt, and then obviously retreat into Raging Bolt.
Yes, because it does look like the Koraidon has 2 retreat costs. So, and then the problem now is that we need a fighting energy.
Yep.
We have to attach it to the Raging Bolt.
So there's our retreat.
Hopefully David sees that.
Yep, he should. Yep,
Okay,
there's our fighting energy,
good.
and then he takes
and then
off
he
the
probably
grass.
removes the grass.
Yep.
And then-
Although, something interesting to note there, a Prime Catcher could have been available.
I wouldn't use it at this point.
So
'Cause, like, I don't think John really cares too much right now.
There's our buddy.
Okay. So I
remember that play you were talking about
I
before?
foresee a board setup, a Dragapult, an attach, and an unfair stamp. So ideally, John dumps all the cards out of the hand that he can right now, unfair stamps David, and then tries to get to a fire energy attach plus Dragapult EX. If he can get to that swing, that is exactly what we're looking for to threaten on the 2 turns. Now, the thing I would like to see from John is that I think there's the unfair stamp. I think that Koraidon only has, if I'm not mistaken, let me just see, Surging Sparks.
I think it's 130.
Right? Yes, it is 130. That
Yeah.
was my main gripe with not using Petty Grudge there, because if it does set Koraidon to 120, which means that in 2 attacks,
Dragapult
can knock it out.
Right.
Yes. So you could, like, potentially Halucha Gust,
Yeah.
or, if you're gusting the 210 HP Pokemon,
Yeah.
like the Ogrepons.
And really what we were talking about at the beginning of the day about how Dragapult tries to set up
Let's see what we got.
as many of these turns.
So we have an Iono. John
so
draws
we
cards.
come.
There's the fire energy. So now, okay.
Okay,
we're
so
a
we
little
have a
bit deeper in
confirmed
the
attack
We're a little
here.
bit deeper in the deck. John has to decide whether he wants to Iono or not, because if he does, he's giving David a hand. Oh no, he does have the Dragapult.
And an Arven.
Oh wow. Okay, I did not realize he already had the Dragapult. So he drew the exact number of cards he needed there, or the exact amount. So here's what's going to happen. Maybe we grab the Ultra Ball for a second Dracloak. Maybe we potentially something to set up an attacker on the next turn. Okay.
Remember, Defiance Band actually does work here as well. Obviously, it doesn't secure a knockout, but what it could do here in this situation is that it puts Raging Bolt to 230 health out of 240, which means that a switch or a counter catcher or anything like that will allow John to take more than 2 prize cards. So we'll have to see what he decides to do.
Yeah, he was eyeing up the Halucha, which does 10 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon, but that doesn't really do anything right now. You'd want to use it on like an Ogrepon to set it to 200, so you could punch it with a Dragapult, things like that. You already used that ability. Here comes the second Dracloak ability. There's the key. We want Jacques, for sure. So now, Defiance best because we can attach. He's already taken a knockout. He's kind of big. Now, effectively 360 HP now on the Dragapult. What that means is that if David gets 5 energy, he can't swing. He needs 6. That is a very tall order on the Dragapult, on the Raging Bolt player to punch the Dragapult back to get a knockout.
Yeah, and especially because, obviously we kind of talked about this a little bit before. With the boss's orders, John wins the game from this position. So,
yeah, I mean, it depends on that. Also,
so
potentially...
We'll see what David has here. Does David have an Ultra Ball?
Sada.
So that's 3
that
cards.
puts us at 3. Attach makes it 4. And he did attack with an ancient Pokemon the previous turn, so he could just attack with the Koraidon. But that does set him up if he doesn't have another Poke. Oh, nope, 2 Nest Balls. We're back in the game.
Oh, right. So here we go. David getting...
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Pheasantipity plus... Ooh, now we've got a game. So... if David gets to 6 and gets the knockout on John here, we've got a problem. Because now John needs both attaches. So he needs a Crispin and he needs Dragapult EX. That's going to be a tall order. It just depends on what David can actually get through, because he can Nest Ball for Fez and Nest Ball for another attacker.
So it is possible for David to go, because he hasn't manually attached yet. So if David finds his other grass energies, it is possible for him to knock out this Dragapult this turn. So we'll have
We're
to
at
see.
4, so attach is
2
5.
more.
So we're going to have to see what he gets.
So it has to be attached, Teal Dance.
Stretcher for the 1.
Okay. So that's 5. David really feeling the loss of Lost Vacuum. Otherwise, Lost Vacuum would have been able to take it up. Oh, David could hit Jamming Tower.
He could, if he has it. But even then, I think 6, like, he's at 5. If he has Jamming Tower, this is enough.
Yeah, so let's
see. But if he gets the other energy to swing, he can swing. It just depends on what exactly he can actually get to.
Yeah. So we're at 35. He needs 10 damage.
Can he get there? He put down 2 more Teal Mask Ogrepons. Maybe there was a world where you could have put down the Fez there. Not sure what else he has in his hand. Kind of waiting and seeing what exactly is going on. Second Nest Ball. He needs to grab... honestly, I would like to see a Pheasantipity here. I would like to see maybe if he does get that energy card. This is the big swing turn. This is what David has to provide. David has to provide a response here. If David can't, then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, because if David can't knock out that Dragapult, that would be a problem. Now, interesting little interaction here. If John takes a knockout, if David can't knock out this Dragapult and John then takes a knockout, Defiance Vest would no longer be in effect, correct?
Yes.
Or is it, wait, is it this Pokemon has more HP, or this Pokemon
takes 40? It's HP is plus 40, I believe. Or it's either HP is plus 40 or it takes 40 less damage.
Because if it's 40 less damage, if its HP is less than 40, if its HP goes up by 40, that is a big deal, because if that card, if it increases Dragapult's health total, that means that it's 40
less damage
okay,
from attack, so effective damage total. Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's fine then.
So so David, I think, just needs to Fez and hope that he has an out to a Grass Energy. That's the goal. If he can get the out, oh no, he's just attacking with 5. That's 350. That's not enough, because it's 336. It's 350 minus 40, which is 310.
310.
Okay, so he basically is taking 3, and it's 210 minus 4, which is 170. So that means that, or actually no, it's did he remove 3 or 4 there? I think he just removed 3, so it'd be 210 minus 40 is
210
is 170. So I think
that's 6, 12, 18,
does
21.
John have too much damage on there right now? Do we know if he removed 3 or 4? So it's actually it should be 170 instead of 2. Yeah, it would be 170 instead of 180. Okay, cool.
Good.
Yay!
Look at us. We
did
caught
math.
something. Yeah.
We did math. All right. So now here's how this is going to work. John can attack again. He needs to get an energy attached so that he can set up another attacker. However, Countercatcher...
Remember, this is that play we were talking about before.
Countercatcher, you could Countercatcher swing into Fez here and not take any prizes.
Yeah.
Set up the EXP share so that the attack goes to the next turn. This is big, because now John can potentially, if he swings into the Fez, set up a 6-prize turn the following turn. And David can only realistically take 2. He takes 2, then John responds by taking 6 easy.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be one of those situations where David is definitely feeling very threatened right now. We'll have to see how John tackles this.
I don't think John takes prize cards here. I think he should keep the Countercatcher online. It is unlikely that David plays that card. He has the EXP share down. I think he Countercatchers the Fez. I think that's his best out right now. Either Countercatcher the Fez. There you go. Okay, cool. So he sees it. What's going to happen here is that he wants to put enough damage on the board now where he can swing. So he probably goes. I think he sets them all to 10.
Yes,
so,
10 damage. Yep.
Well, yes. So what you're going to do is you're going to set.
It's
you
200,
swing into the Fez.
and then,
you swing into the Fez for 200. It sets its health to 10.
Yep.
You swing 3 damage counters onto the Raging Bolt to set it to 10, and then you deal 1/1. 1/1/1.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing here.
So it sets the Raging Bolt to 70 so that you can swing at it for 60 and knock it out. And then it sets the only thing that John needs next turn is another Dragapult, an energy attached for turn, and a Gust. If he has those 3 things, it is a 6-prize turn 2. Or 6-prize turn 3 or 4, excuse me, but That's what we want to
So
see.
he opted to go for that 40 damage on the Koraidon.
Because now at this point, okay, so opting to go for a little bit bigger on the Koraidon. I mean, he does have enough damage to take that there.
Oh, 30-30. No, he's got it. 30-30. So
no,
he can go
still
that's still five
but
prize
it's not
cards.
6. It's not 6.
Right.
Right, because, well, I mean, what does happen here is that it is enough anyway that if he does swing and KO into the Ogerpon, so the same thing applies, that all he needs is another Gust, and that's it.
Yeah, definitely a tough situation for David to be in here because he has to give up an energy in order to retreat first, and then Sada, and then continue on with the rest of the game. So to go from this position is going to be very tough.
Yes,
Obviously,
this is not a bad position for John to be in. It does seem a little bit scary. If the worst thing that can happen right now is that if David attacks with a Koraidon and then puts down a jamming tower. If he does that, then EXP share does not activate. John has to provide Countercatcher, Crispin, and a Dragapult EX off of 3 or 4 cards in hand. That's not them ain't good odds. I tell you what. Oh, surprise cameo appearance by David's son Jaden.
Yeah.
Surprise cameo.
Let's go,
appearance.
Jaden.
Let's go, Jaden.
Let's go.
I love Jaden. He's a cool kid.
For those
I like
watching
Jaden.
at home, we're a big fan of Jaden and his dad here. They're good guys. So.
They're local guys. We know them
Yeah.
pretty well. Jaden's Jaden's a cool kid. We like him.
Yeah. Actually, funny little tidbit about Jaden. He is actually ranked in the top 200 points in the world
for juniors.
For juniors.
Wow.
Yeah. So because he goes to all of these events with his dad.
Bro plays more than me. I want points. I want. You know. Also, this is your reminder as David is processing his turn. He's trying to think about what he wants to do.
Hydrate.
Please hydrate. Hydrate. Say hi to your loved ones. Okay, Sada, 3 attach. That is a stadium. I do not see if it is the jamming tower or not. That is important.
Oh, wait, Nicholas, boss's orders is game. 230-30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay,
now
okay,
we see. Our young Dragapult player's learning. He's learning. Yes, so the problem is just that if David does get the knockout, we have to see what John can do in response. He has to get there.
I don't think he can.
Oh,
he's shaking his
head.
head.
He does not like it. All right.
Ooh, we'll have to see what he does here.
Let's see.
I believe that was also David's wife there, also hanging out with
Cameo
us
appearance,
today.
Headland family.
Yeah,
Headland family gathering.
We like it.
Oh.
All
right.
It's all right, David. Let's see what we got going on here, my friend. Yeah.
So
in this
I'm
position,
hoping. If we want to get a confirmation in terms of tournament bracket, as David is processing his final set of turns here, we'll have to see what exactly. Oh, actually, nope. Have some actions going on. He is deck searching. I will say that I just want to get a little bit of a check on what the current standings are. I don't know if what I think Ben Nace, his record is, because I know he did win in the first round. David is 1-1. If Ben is currently 3-0, then if John does win this round, then that will be the top 2, and that will be our immediate finals after this pairing. So we will have to see how exactly that goes. Oh, did David just draw cards from Pheasantipity, or is he trying to?
No, David.
Because he did not take a knockout the previous turn.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, David did not take a knockout last turn, so that those 3 cards that he just drew are actually, he was not able to draw those cards.
Okay, so we're going to have to see what happens with the setup here. I don't know if he actually drew those cards. Oh no, it didn't look like he did.
Okay, so it's just, so John stopped him from committing to that action.
Scared me for a second.
Yeah.
Scared me.
So David trying to figure out what he wants to do from this position. It's definitely rough. I mean,
I think what has to happen here is I think David definitely, I think it's just attach, retreat into the Koraidon, and then you just swing for the knockout. Oh, into the Raging Bolt. Is he just hoping that John doesn't have it?
Yeah, it sucks because it's pretty likely that John has his boss's orders here. So David's kind of gambling here.
Yeah, you've got to take a knockout, David.
Oh, see, so he's trying to decide what he wants to retreat into here.
He's got to take a knockout. That is for sure, because he has to put it on John to have more pieces than less. He has to have the evolve into Dragapult, the attach, and the gust to swing. Otherwise, hoping it's 1 piece versus 4 pieces.
David decided to go for that. Okay.
Okay.
So the boss's orders.
He probably just passes here.
Yeah.
Did he attack with an ancient Pokemon? Well, it would be enough. Oh no, it wouldn't
He
be
didn't.
because Defiance Vest would negate the damage.
That's correct.
Ah, wow, dang, that stinks.
So John playing a really, really, really defensive game right now, and genuinely,
I think they're discussing the board state here,
Yeah.
because he did attack with the Raging Bolt the previous turn. So because he attacked with the Raging Bolt the previous turn, even if he whiffs, he can attack with the Koraidon for enough.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's a little friendly discussion here to see if David can, maybe he may want to
Either
take
way.
that play back. Oh, nope.
Oh.
Maybe he just passes here.
Yeah, he's trying to decide. He could manually attach for or a Sada's into a Burst Roar here.
No,
to try and
because he
draw
did already
cards.
Sada's earlier in the turn, I think.
Oh, he did.
Nope,
oh,
he just passes.
Yeah, so
All right,
he
it is
passes.
up to John to have
All right,
it.
so let's see what John finds that boss's orders.
Serendipity, Badoo.
Badoo.
That does not do much here.
So we have to see what John can do.
We've got a
With
Jacques. So I think.
So he doesn't have the boss's orders.
Yes, but he can draw into second Dragapult and Dracloak. There is a chance that he draws into raw second Countercatcher. If he does that, it is a 6-prize turn, game over.
Ah, yes. Does he have a second Countercatcher in there?
Most lists do play 2.
Okay.
If he does have second Countercatcher, then that is game right there. We'll have to see.
Okay, let's see what he does. So definitely going through that shuffle.
Low chance.
Yeah,
Low
I did see it.
chance.
I saw it. I saw it in his hands there. So we're going to see what he comes up with.
Low chance. So what he probably does is he evolves into the Dragapult, the second Dragapult, so he guarantees that as an attach is all he needs to win there. Because I think there's a world where I don't think John takes any prize cards here. I don't think he wants to take a knockout, because if he does,
okay, here we go.
Let's see it.
Klefki.
Iono. Okay, so he doesn't have the KO this turn, and I don't think he takes KOs anyway, regardless. Now,
Yeah, I think he just goes 100 and then.
Or he'll swing for the
or he'll swing
200.
for the 200,
and I
then-
think he sets the. I think he.
Oh, okay. So
Oh.
he is taking prize cards.
He's going to take it.
He's taking the 30-30 here. So, yeah, and he put he make
You know, taking 4 here is definitely correct. I mean, like, there's definitely routes that you can take for both. I
guess that's just because he
removing
established.
removing David's Pheasantipity, because you don't want to get David access to cards to draw.
Well, the only problem is that Raging Bolt runs 3 copies of
2 or 3 copies
Night.
of Night Stretcher.
Yeah, so that like it could come
So, like,
down.
it could.
Okay, Crispin.
So he is just attacking. Okay. So at this point, I think that does technically lock up the game for John, unless David then does the double attach with the Crispin, retreat, but the problem is that Raging Bolt's retreat cost is 3.
Yeah,
So
so-
I think that this pretty much locks up the game in John Connidy's favor, unless David plays Jamming Tower. If he has Jamming Tower, he should play that down.
So 7-14. So he has enough. It's just.
And if he does, yeah, Jamming Tower has to activate here. I think I can't tell if that's. I don't know if he sees it, but I can't tell if that is actually a Jamming Tower. It seems like it might be an Area 0. If it is, then. Okay, there's the Fez, back on the board here.
Yep.
I mean, at this
So,
point,
draw 3.
John only needs an energy attached to win the game here, unfortunately, at any position. So it does look pretty grim, unless David does get a Bravery Charm attached to the Roaring Moon. I mean, Raging Bolt, excuse me.
Roaring Moon
getting
would
my
be an
ancient,
interesting
I'm
deck.
getting my ancient Pokemon mixed up
Yeah,
here.
Roaring Moon would be a crazy deck to see here today. Another one of those rogue decks that we see. Yeah,
so he's got 1 on the
so-
attach.
So I think David is conversing with John, talking about what the next set of moves are going to be.
And there's the knockout.
Yeah, so there's the knockout.
And he does that. He knows what's going on. He attaches the Psychic, and that is that.
Yeah.
John Connidy with a dominant 2-0 performance.
Yeah, now we've got a
against
3-0
David
John
Headland.
Connidy here, so very good game there. So very, very good game by John. Probably the only 3-0 here today.
Potentially Ben. Also, I did see that he was still playing and in the tournament. So
Oh, okay,
if
so
him and John are the
potentially-
only, if him and John are the only 3-0s, then they will play a final for all de Marbelles at the end of this.
Yeah,
so we will have to see. John wants to come on for an interview. We'll find out in a second. But pure Dragapult.
Yeah,
No,
so-
no bull, no line, no additional lines. Just a decent amount of tech cards for the format, and you swing swing, and swing again.
Yeah, absolutely. So
the
and
Dragapult
really
Council, the
interesting
Dragapult
play.
Council is about to convene.
Yeah, and a really interesting play there, not choosing not to take any prize cards. So like, there's no Pheasantipity, there's no counter catcher, there's no interaction with the board.
Yeah.
And David, obviously playing a turbo list, has to interact with that board state, forcing John to be able to use Unfair Stamp. So very, very good plays there by John.
Very well played.
But we're actually going to have him step on here.
The Dragapult Council is about to convene.
All right, you guys are about to get a good lesson here.
Just to give you a heads up, top 4 is Pure Pult. I think there's 3 Pure Pults in top 8 right now. The top 8 was a mirror, and Lashmet lost, but now it is Pure Pult. It's Pure Pult versus Henry playing Guardy, and it's 1-1.
Wow.
Sounds like a pretty good set. But let's talk about you instead of players that are at Atlanta. Pure Pult.
Yeah, Pure Pult.
What
Good
are
day
our
for
thoughts?
Pure Pult here and in Atlanta. I think my favorite part of that set was the Game 1 Klefki. I fought tooth and nail against Klefki in this deck because you don't want to go first.
Yeah.
But I knew it was Raging Bolt, and I luckily got into it. So
Yeah, looking pretty good. Pretty dominant position there. I mean, David really didn't have much to respond to that, so he didn't really do anything after that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That game, too. Very interested in the play where you took the 4. Was there my thought process? What's the thought process behind that play versus maybe potentially not knocking out those 2 cards so that he doesn't have access to any other additional draw?
I figured at that point that puts me far enough ahead. I'm going to have the Dragapult set up next turn with the EXP share.
True.
And I know there's nowhere he can hide that other Raging Bolt that I just swung into. So no matter where he puts it, I'm taking that out on the bench.
Okay. Yeah, because at the point that you swung at it, it had just 200, right?
Yes.
So, okay, yeah, no, definitely seems good. I mean, the only thought that I would have there then at that point is then maybe if he does play Bravery Charm, and if he Bravery Charms the Raging Bolt, you can't immediately take that prize.
That's
unless
true.
you gust. So
Yeah, I had just pulled balls with the prizes.
You did?
Luckily,
Okay.
so.
Hey, worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe there's a thought process on there, and maybe I wanted to see a 6 prize turn.
I wanted to see a 6 prize turn too, but
maybe I don't know. Okay. But I mean, the Klefki is definitely an inclusion for the deck that's on-off. I've seen a lot of different play testing groups play it, a lot of different play testing groups not. We're about to see a bunch of lists from top 16, top 32, and top 8 now with Lashmet getting that finish. What are your thoughts on it so far? Any other tech inclusions that are a little bit different from the norm that you've been playing in your list?
Yeah, the Klefki definitely feels good. It feels good early game, feels good mid game for certain matchups. Anything with Latias, it's nice to trap that.
Okay.
Because a lot of decks with Latias don't really care about a mid game, but do. I know a lot of Pure Pult lists are on 2 Crispin. I went 1 Crispin and then the EXP share.
Which definitely won you the game in that regard.
Yeah. Just because I didn't like locking myself in a Crispin too often if I lost my first attachment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much a standard list. Other than that, 3-3-1 on the energy with the 1 dark for the Monkey Dory.
Okay. Yeah, simple and straightforward.
stuff.
That works out. I mean, we're about to see it one more time. You're going to be playing Terapagos, which seems to be a fairly intricate matchup. So hopefully we'll see you take it home for the Dragapult cult. Shout out to Liz. So we'll send you back over there.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank
We will
you.
be right back. Don't go anywhere. Oh, still on camera. Are we going straight in, or are we taking a little break first? Yeah, we could probably take like a minute break or so. I'm still on camera right now. We're still hanging out. All good. Now, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, we're back. What's going on? So we have grand finals coming up for you here real quick. Once again here at the Long Island TCG show here in Melville. Basically we have a cool little matchup going on for you guys here. It's going to be just the matchup that we saw before. So it's going to be Raging Bolt versus Dragapult here.
For all the marbles, and this guy. And this guy. Second and first, we've got our finals here. That has been determined. The competition has come down to this, our nice little local for this week. That has been streamed. We have John Conedy, who you just saw earlier on Dragapult, pure Dragapult, versus Ben Nation's Terrapagos Dusknoir. John has won the coin flip and has elected to go first. We do not see the camera feed right now for the table. We're going to have to wait and see a second there. But the game looks like it has begun.
So again, getting that Raging Bolt versus a match as old as time. Raging Bolt versus Dragapult. We've been seeing a lot of this. So
Raging Bolt. Ben's playing Terrapagos, my friend.
Oh, that's right, Terrapagos. I'm sorry.
So this is a new matchup for this format. Very technical. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is a very new matchup. Definitely very technical, has a lot of different options. John getting the clef key, opting first, maybe potentially knowing that Ben had an option there. Ben doesn't exactly have too many options here. Nest Ball, maybe for Terrapagos outright, so he can try to string together an attack. John maybe potentially seeing and playing him earlier and knowing that Ben had Terrapagos as an attacker, so he knows that getting clef key into the active is a very strong play to start off the set. Let's see what we got. Terrapagos down. So just for your knowledge, just got word from the production team, the timer is just ticking down here. It says 14 minutes, but we're actually going to set it back to an hour once it gets down to 0 here. It's going to be a 75-minute best of 3. Same as always, because it is a top cut game.
So again, that clef key being super dominant in stopping Ben's, immediate, aggression, for this. So in this case, Ben obviously would make an attempt at trying to fan call here, but physically cannot due to the, clef key in play. Now, I believe fan call can only be used on the first turn, correct?
It can only be used on the first turn. So John getting clef key is a very good start for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more so, well, Ben isn't going to ever be, most Terrabox decks or Terrabox style decks, which is Noctowls, they're not exactly too aggressive on their first turn. It's more so that they get their setup. That clef key stops that. So here we are, same as the last set against Raging Bolt. John gets the Evo plus and he did get an attach on 1, which is super important here. So there is definitely an option here. Ben does not have a lot of cards. I see a Dark Energy for a potential to attack. John does not have to do anything this turn other than Evo. So he will TM Evolve, search his deck for 2 Pokemon that evolve from those Dreepies and evolve them into the Dreepies. That is very, very good. We'll have to see what Ben can attach and swing for 30.
Yeah. So,
maybe take a prize off KOing Badoo, but I don't see any reason why you would do that. He does play Monkey Dory, so Monkey Dory does definitely have a good option. Okay, opting to Badoo for 10 damage, setting up the attack on the following turn here. Now that the clef key has done its job, we're going to see what Ben can do here, because he does have an attach. So maybe if Ben plays the Stadium and attaches, KOs the Badoo,
Oh, Ben choosing to pass there.
Doesn't have anything, so we've got some Dragapults here.
There's the Dragapult.
Do we take the Ultra Ball, though?
We could. I mean,
because I think right now is that we know that Ben doesn't have a setup. We know that Ben doesn't really have a lot of cards to be able to do things turn after turn. So I think what John should prioritize is getting a stronger board, because once Ben gets to attack, we're initiating that.
Yep,
okay.
So again, you were talking about that Ultra Ball. Here we go.
Getting rid of the bear, putting in the Dracloaks. Maybe there's a world where later on we can get a Crispin and attach 2 energies onto the board at once, where you're guaranteeing your good setups here. We'll have to see how exactly that turns out off of the second. Oh, just off the second. Yeah, we're just going to use the second Recon Directive. We did the 1 already. Here comes the second. We are going to go Dark Energy. And
Now, we definitely don't want to take the Artisan here, obviously, because with Ben, giving Ben access to getting his Hoot Hoots is a bad idea. So, yeah, so there's that Artisan going to the bottom of the deck.
correctly identifying that, that is the case. If we do not have any other energies to attach, EXP share and the Badoo attack.
Itchy Pollen. It is spring. We are in pollen season, and it is quite itchy. Let's see what Ben does from this position. Ben passes here.
The pass back, it is not looking good now because John is now able to get even further set up here. Maybe now you get the second attach. See, that's what's really important here is that you're getting the energy attachments. Definitely unfair stamp there. So
John
now when Ben makes an attack, John can respond immediately by stamping him, further cementing his lead in this game. Maybe he attaches to the other Dragapult or Dracloak and then passes, depending on what he gets. Let's just see what he does. Okay, opting for the one rare candy in the deck, because I know this deck does play one rare candy. Ben, drawing more item cards. Does he have an option here off that? Does draw the Monkey Dory.
So now we can take care of the Badoo
Ben
here.
identifying the correct play and being patient. He does take the 30, pushes it onto the Badoo to knock it out to take his first prize card. That does now activate Klefki's ability, and John can unfair stamp him. That is a problem. Because Ben still does not have access to item cards. He's going to pass back.
Yep. And then John obviously is going to immediately go into unfair stamp here.
Well, maybe not. We do see an energy card in hand. There's a world where John can definitely do something. Countercatcher on the Terraphagos.
Here we go.
Now, unfair stamp. Okay. So, rescue board on the key.
Yep. Here we go, seeing what Dragapult does best here, especially Purepult with this, basically running Ben Nace directly down, out of resources, preventing him from using his item cards with Badoo. Not looking great for Ben here. Let's see what two cards Ben ends up picking up. Alrighty, so there's another recon drive here. Oh, two wow.
Obvious choice.
Two. I wonder what it could be.
I think it's the Dracloak. I think you picked the Dracloak.
I thought it was the other Dracloak. Rock, paper, scissors for it. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Shit. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh no! No, he got me. All right.
Moving on. Apologies for that brief interruption. Okay, so looks like John did get access to the energy cards he needs to attack. He's going to probably attach. He does have a couple of good setups here.
Yeah, so energy's already in play. Dragapult is in play. Both Dracloaks, so John can really go through his deck. Ben really in a rough position here.
Yeah, John does get the first attack into Ben. That's really good. We're threatening the board state. Ben does take additional damage here. Oh, he got the knockout.
Yep, so there's the Defiance Band, so that guarantees that 230 damage, that Terraphagos is knocked out, and yeah, Ben is choosing to go next. Okay, so yeah,
that is a very quick game one. Yeah, Ben choosing that board state is not strong enough to be able to handle any sort of response to that. We are correctly identifying. Let's go game two.
Yeah, and especially because they have so much time as well, Ben can really just kind of jump into the next one. But that was a rough start. Really showing like how powerful Klefki is as a card.
Especially into those types of matchups. Now, let's just see if John gets lucky enough to start Klefki a second time. If Ben does play the fan, then we shall see what happens. Okay.
Both players shuffling their cards. Just wanted to remind you guys, as both players are getting ready to set up and our judge sits down here, we're sitting here at the Long Island TCG show, just like we were talking about last time. We have a bunch of shows coming up, most importantly, the big one being on May 3rd and May 4th. A bunch of different people showing up there. As you guys can see on screen, obviously, Chuck Hubert, Dante Basco, Jay, Lisa, Linda, Jason Page, so on and so forth. A lot of really cool names. I'm personally Veronica Taylor, original voice Veronica Taylor, pretty sweet. And then obviously, this one's going to be at Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Big show, 400 vendors. You get the drill. It's going to be a good one. So definitely, if there's going to be a show you guys want to head out to, that's going to be one of them. And then obviously, we've got our monthly marketplace, similar to the one that we've got today. April 13th, which is today, June 22nd, July 19th, September 13th, and October 26th coming up soon. Alrighty, we got both players coming up, setting up here. We have Ben going first.
Oh, he knows. John got lucky. He started the key.
Yeah, so John started Clef Key, so this is going to be
not like this.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ben knows.
Ben knows.
That sucks.
He's kind of just thinking to himself, I can only imagine what's going through Ben's mind right now. There's not much that he can do. That's a brutal start. Ben choosing to go for that Ultra Ball.
He can't even grab the fan.
He can't even grab
it doesn't even work.
Yeah, so Clef Key really showing how dominant that card is into this list. Unless Ben had actually Ben decided to go first this time, so there actually isn't even a choice of a boss's orders here. So there really is no way for Ben to even get started.
Very quick. This might be a very quick set here.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Ben here. John starting Clef Key was a huge, huge benefit. There's the Dark Energy attach here to confirm the attack later. And here we go. John giving up Buddy Poffin here. Obviously 2 Dreepies.
We're doing the same thing. We're just running the setup double Dreepy. Does he have the potential just raw Evo? Maybe?
I know there was a Jacques in hand, but nope, we got it. We got the Evo for Arvin.
That looks great. I mean, I think the best thing we can do right now probably is just there's an option to Badoo. There's an
is
option
Evo
to
prized?
Evo.
Uh-oh. Evo might be prized.
Doesn't look like it. Yeah, it looks like it's prized, unfortunately.
Yeah, so Evo is prized.
So let's see.
So there we go.
I mean, maybe Badooing is an option here because it's after the first turn. We do the same thing we did before.
Yep. So we stopped the fan call. We stopped the... So there we go.
Definitely a world where you could just go Badoo and then... maybe just Badoo and then Gust Phantom Dive off the... You don't have the Evo. Maybe Rare Candy Attach Swing. I have no clue here. We'll have to figure out exactly what's going on. All right, there's a rescue board. Retreat into the Badoo. Do we have an energy attach for turn? We should.
Find out.
All right, so there is a chance for the game to end next turn. That is okay.
So
no
Ben,
search options. Ben has 3 cards.
Ben going for Crispin.
So we can get rid of the Badoo this turn.
Okay. So there's our 2 energy. Kind of waiting to see here. Ben trying to weigh his options. It is not looking good. So
yeah, I mean, his best option right now, and this is why he put down the Fan Rotom on turn 1, mainly just because he has the option to attack with the Fan Rotom, so he can KO the Badoo.
And if
so,
that Rare Candy can be...
Ooh, that's options.
Yeah, that's
Does
a lot
he have
of really good cards.
He needs a
Psychic.
He needs a Dragapult, he needs a Dragapult and Rare Candy. That's it.
Yep. He has the Arvin in hand.
He has the... Nope, he's got it. He's got Rare Candy in hand already.
Okay, so there we go. We have
the
Dragapult.
The one over... Oh, maybe not?
So the Dragapult. I didn't see Rare Candy in hand.
Nope, he's smiling. He has it. Attach.
Rare Candy? Yeah,
Rare
there
Candy,
it is.
Dragapult,
And
swing. And that's game 2.
Alrighty. So that is the end. John Conatee is our winner.
In less than 15 minutes. That is the set. A 2-0 position from John Conity. That was unfortunate
that
with
was
the key.
such an incredible display about how powerful Klefki as a card is. I mean, just starting it on its own completely changed the entire dynamic of the game.
Yeah, and you know, John seeing Ben, you know, maybe playing him before in Swiss or seeing him around on the tournament floor, knowing and correctly identifying that playing the Klefki is probably a good idea.
Yeah,
quick
really
and easy,
decisive game.
Props
there,
to props to John on that, identifying the quick play and getting that done. So that leaves John as our Long Island TCG Show Tournament Series 2 champion. Ben at second place, getting our lovely little Bulbasaur plushie here, which I will go and deliver to him momentarily. First place, a Shrouded Fable ETB. I will be delivering the prizes to those two momentarily. Let's just get it. I know we did already have an interview for John there. We could have another one, or we could just end the stream there. Okay, he's going to be coming back for an interview, and then we will be going for our little closing show here. Andrew, if you mind, the Dragapult. The Dragapult cult, the Dragapult, we're gonna have to talk about Dragapult a second.
Oh God.
Would you mind? Would you mind? Would you mind?
All right, John, you're up.
Oh, hi. He's here. Hello again. Well,
Long time no see.
Klefki's a good card.
Klefki's a good card.
I guess, did you hit, you hit him in Swiss, I guess, right?
I did.
Okay, so you knew that you had to basically Klefki him to win.
I hit him in Swiss. We played a couple games before the tournament started.
Oh, so you knew what he was playing already. So you correctly identified to go first, get Klefki, and then got a little lucky on that last game where you started.
I believe I went 6-0 against him today.
Yeah, he did not seem happy about that, unfortunately. But, you know, that's kind of how it is sometimes. Definitely, Klefki gives you a very big edge into that matchup if you can get to it. So
just both games getting Klefki straight into the Badoo. Dragapult does nothing better than any deck in the format.
That's a funny way to put it. Dragapult does nothing.
I'm going to do nothing too, but I'm going to do it way better than you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, given that plan worked, but given that plan goes to do, what are your options after that point? Is it just hope and pray, or what are you trying to get rid of in that matchup aside from that? If the game goes longer than 3 turns,
you know, it's really just target Hoot Hoots.
Yeah,
Hoot Hoots are your biggest threat.
Okay.
As long as there's not a Clefairy on the board, and if there is a Clefairy, it probably has a Bravery Charm.
Yeah.
So you have to try and get into the bear, or you can use Monkey Dory Defiance Band to deal with that. You have a few lines.
Yeah, definitely. The Monkey Dory for sure. You can play the Monkey Dory Wars. I do very much like the Defiance Band on the list now. I'm definitely going to be switching back to that myself.
Yeah.
I think it is definitely very good into certain matchups. So, I mean, hey, you won.
I did.
You're the winner.
I am the winner.
Dragapult is the winner of this tournament twice over now. Duskpult with Liz winning the first series. Second series coming to you with Pure Pult.
Yeah, get those ghosts out of my deck.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess anything else you want to do? Any shout-outs you want to talk about? People that have been, you know?
Yeah, shout out to the testing group, the Dragapult Council. You know, a lot of stuff.
Yay!
Ooh, Shredded Fable.
You get an object. Yay!
And now I can
the prize. Here's your big guy. Go take him. Go take my nephew. Bring him to Ben. Yeah. Second place prize is the big Bulbasaur going to Ben, but
nice.
Keep going.
Yeah, I can pull some Alt Art Dusk lines to maybe that'll make me play them.
Maybe it won't.
Maybe I won't.
Maybe
I will.
But maybe you will.
Yeah.
Any other considerations you want to talk about before we sign you off for the day?
Not really. Just a good day for Pult with no ghosts.
Agreed. Well, nice job. You did it.
Thank you.
All right. So, second interview with Ben, or what's the game plan going on? Oh, there you go. So, all right. Pop a squat. All right. So, successful tournament number 2. If you're considering getting involved in your grassroots tournaments, this would be a good place to start. Good production line for the TCG shows. Also, going forward, remember, one more time, we got TCG shows lining up for the next couple of weeks. June 8th is a new date. We'll have tournaments here pretty much every time, so we will figure that out as well. Remember, aside from those dates, we've also got the big one in May, Nassau Veterans Coliseum. Where the island, well, you know, big old Coliseum. We've got 400 vendor tables, tournaments, video games, probably, hopefully another stream. nice big old
Yes,
production value
we're
event.
gonna have a
Meet and
good one.
greets with the voice actors that we have spoken about the entire day, this whole time as well. So if you want to check that out, get the cards you need, everything like that. There's going to be way more vendors than normal. Ton of everything. It's a party. Join us if you feel like it. If you feel like testing your metal on the TCG, come and play in the bigger tournament. Probably bigger prizing that time too.
Yeah.
Come and
listen.
Like our friend Kenneth, he tried out for the first time, did pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. The big thing with Pokemon is the more people that join the show and show up, the more fun it is, the more prizing we get all together, everything. So it is one of the most important things that you can do as a player. Join, show up, have fun, ask players how to play. We're all pretty good with it. Like, we want to see you guys succeed, and we want to see you guys play. So please come through, have fun.
We like seeing good games. We like casting good games going
Hello,
forward.
everybody. I hope everyone had a great time today. Our
We
next
did.
We did.
show is May 3rd
Whoa.
and 4th.
We've been talking about it.
Oh my gosh, we were just talking about that.
Yeah,
wow.
the
Amazing.
People, events, places. It's going to be great. So thank you all for coming. We'll see you guys in the next one.
So that is the conclusion
Yeah,
of this
there you
TCG
go.
show. This TCG show tournament, perfect timing, unbelievably perfect timing.
Yeah, it couldn't have been better than that.
So,
Genuinely.
our
yeah,
closing
it's-
thoughts: Dragapult, good, play it,
Have fun with it.
go to your local tournaments,
Klefki,
hydrate during your
great
shows.
tech card.
Hydrate, have fun, go to your local tournaments, show up and show out, because that is the backbone of what this game is made of.
Yes.
For us here at the TCG show, we have everything kind of squared away. It looks like the camera just cut at the last minute there.
All right, that's perfect for us.
From us to you at the Long Island TCG show. Thank you guys for having us. Thank you to the production team. Thank you to Anthony for running the tournament. One more time, be good to each other. Stay hydrated. Go to your local tournaments. We will see you guys next time.
See you guys later.